No.
I've been saying it for years that Tarantula is the guy that you should be buying. They all laughed at me, but who's laughing now? Probably the sellers of that comic book. We're going to talk about why coming up next on the Ungraded Truth podcast. Detective Comics set a record for 1.8 million. Nobody really cares.
Who are annoyed that people are asking them questions, is this book banned? That question didn't exist a year ago.
Somebody's submitting like 25 vintage books and getting 15 9.9s.
We always think, how can it ever get crazier? And then it always does.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the #1 collectible show in the universe, The Ungraded Truth. I am Swaggle joined by my esteemed co-hosts. Of course, we have Ryan, Automatic Comics, Manu, the 99 Newsstand, Rob, Neo Cards and Comics. Gentlemen, we got a big show tonight. Lots of topics to get into. But before we do, how are you guys doing?
I'm tired. But we're going to fight through it. We're going to fight through it tonight.
I'm here and I'm excited about our 1966 Donruss live sale this evening. This is going to be good.
The party begin.
Yes, well, we will be pumping it up. We will be tired. We are all old. We're going to talk about why we're unks later on in the show, actually. But before we actually get into those topics, first, we got to do a little bit of housekeeping. Guys, the Ungraded Truth channel just keeps on exploding, even more so than that of Marvel Donruss Trading Cards. We are currently at 1.29 subscribers. How do I say that? 1,290 subscribers. Head on over to the channel, guys. Get us to 1.3 because 1.3 is a magic number. Link is in the description. Also, we're over on Spotify. If you click this link right here in the YouTube description, we're over on Spotify. And look at us. We got 5 18-star. No, I said that incorrectly. We got 18 5-star reviews. We are 2 away from 20. Imagine this. You, viewer, could be that 20th person, Or someone could be the 19th person, and then the 20th person could be the 20th person. No shame to the 19th person. We need you there first. But help us get to 20 over on Spotify. We would definitely appreciate it. If you guys don't know, The Ungraded Truth is a co-stream across all of our various YouTube channels. We're over live on Automatic's channel right now. We're live on Neo's YouTube channel and his X account, as we are live on my channel and the Ungraded Truth official YouTube channel. So no matter where you're watching the stream, be sure to go into the description, head on over to everyone's various social medias, give them a sub, give them a like, give them a follow for Manu on Instagram, and we would appreciate it. But gentlemen, that's my little housekeeping spiel. I'm getting better at it each time.
I mean, we are the only podcast with an 18-star review. So, I mean, take that for what it is.
We are the greatest podcast in the universe.
It's true.
All right. Well, let's kind of table all of our intros for now, and let's get right into it. Apparently, there's a Spider-Man movie that just came out, or at least a trailer that just came out for it, and everybody in the comic book market lost their mind. Dare I say, spec is back. I am over on my Instagram account where I had this post just talking about, some of the key issues that were related to some of the imagery that we saw in the trailer and how the aftermarket is going insane for all of these books. This is actually a post that went pretty viral, at least for my Instagram account, which I think is a testament to how much people were really excited about the trailer, Spider-Man, all of these comic books related to it. The one I want to kind of focus on mostly, of course, is ASM number 134. I'm just going to kind of quickly do a little bit of a scroll through, showing you guys all of the sales we've seen for this book in the last, day and a half or so. It's been quite crazy just to see how much volume and what the actual prices are for this thing, which, I think kind of to the point of the main topic of the show being that spec is back. I think that kind of just suggests that we haven't seen this behavior in a long time when it comes to trailer drops. People are obsessed with what they see in the trailer. a lot of comic book buyers head over to eBay and buy the books that, seemingly they're speccing on. Just to kind of give you guys a full rounding of the conversation before, we kind of go over to the panel. We have ASM 134. This is the first appearance of Tarantula. Most of these books are being celebrated or bought up because they had, direct tie-ins to the imagery in that trailer. But here over on Key Collector, this is their trending 20, 1,350% increase in the sales for this book. ASM 345 that features Boomerang on it, another 1,000% increase. There's this book right here, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man #1. This one has a 733% increase. A lot of other Tarantula books are selling, which I think is hilarious because he always does the same pose on all these covers. Then you have ASM 546, the first Mr. Negative, the name of the movie itself, and a lot of other books like Daredevil and The Hand and things of that nature. But guys, let me just kind of, table some of the other points right now that I want to bring up later and kind of kick it back over to you guys. Did you watch the trailer? How did you feel about it? And maybe more importantly, as it relates to the topic tonight, how did you feel about all the craziness of the spec buyers that are going on right now in the market?
All right. Well, since I'm in this corner this night, I think I get to start.
Finally figured it out.
But like, I mean, I know I'm supposed to like moon boy everything right now, but like, I don't know. I didn't love the trailer. It was kind of mid to me.
How dare you? How dare you?
But like, one thing I'll say, and I was talking with someone else in another chat about this. Like, I agree with what he had said, that I feel like those are probably all going to be like quick cut scenes, like in some type of montage, and that it's you really aren't going to probably have these like a lot of those characters in like long stretches of the movie. Now, however, I wouldn't say that doesn't mean that they can't have long-term impacts on the value of those books. Because the one example I like to go to is X-Men 251, that Wolverine on the, the big X cross thing. Because that book, I mean, what are we, like a year and a half after Deadpool now? Whatever it is, that book is still expensive from that 20-second scene, in the movie. So while I definitely wouldn't be out there rushing to pick up those books at these elevated prices, I wouldn't be surprised if they hold on for a little while, at least the more iconic ones that we see. Now, the other big plus for ASM 134 is that second appearance of the Punisher. I mean, that one's kind of up for debate on if it's 134 or 135, if 34 is a cameo, all that kind of stuff. But still, it has Punisher, and so that's kind of like a double key there. It's a little, I'd say that's overall a little more important than the Tarantula. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, I've been kind of down on the Spider-Man movies for a little while. Like, I've just gotten kind of sick of Tom Holland, like not him, but his character just being this like stupid kid that keeps making bad decisions. So if that changes, obviously I'm going to see this movie. I hope that changes and it changes my mind about it.
But you guys, what did you think about the trailer and maybe more importantly, the spec aspect here that's been going crazy?
I don't, man, damn it. I don't have an opinion on this. Well, I do have an opinion on the spec aspect, I think, but I did watch the trailer. Typically, I don't even get to trailers, but it's Spider-Man. So I watched it. I watched it the night after. It was just like one day I was like, oh yeah, there's a trailer out everyone's talking about. Let me see this thing. And it was on like a Sony PlayStation channel or something. I was like, am I even watching the right thing? But it looked really good to me, bro. Like, it seems like maybe it's just the cut of the trailer that I watched, but it seemed darker than some of the other Spider-Man movies, like in tone and in kind of emotion as well. And there's just a ton of characters that just kind of like, I feel like are popping up out of nowhere. Like Tarantula is the last character I would have ever expected to see in the movie. It's like, where'd that come from? I think it's really cool that Punisher's in there. I heard someone leave a comment. I saw someone leave a comment somewhere, and this will tie into the spec. I mean, listen, 129 is a popular book regardless, right? Does this make it more desirable? Do more people go buy it? Sure, I guess that's how spec works, right? But I want to see an actual scene that homages the cover of 129. Like, that visual would be really cool to see. And I know it wasn't given to us in the trailer, but someone else said, they hope they see it as well. And so I look forward to that. I hope they're playful in that way. So in terms of the spec part, I think you guys know, like, I spec on nostalgia. I spec on other things. I don't spec on like waiting for an appearance. Well, there's one item that I am sort of waiting for that. But regardless, I'm excited about it. It's the way I feel about when markets move about anything. I think it's cool. Have fun. Be responsible. These are good books, cool books anyway. Spider-Man's the man. So, enjoy. And what's all this stuff, real quick, before we move on to Neo here? I want a question for all you guys. What's all this stuff about whether Daredevil's going to be in this or not? Is this like just some fun the movie studio's having with us and Daredevil's obviously in it? Or what's kind of the tie-in that people are talking about?
He most likely will be in it. I think this is always like a Marvel movie trope thing where, they're always trying to bring actors and cameos into different things. And if you guys are paying attention to the MCU, Charlie Cox plays Daredevil, and on his TV show, Punisher is in it. So being that Punisher is in the trailer here, you would think that Daredevil would be involved, and Spider-Man's fighting the Hand, which is a very popular Daredevil villain organization. So I think that might just be like one of the surprises that they're holding off on.
Cool. I look forward to
he's
watching the
not
movie.
fighting the Hand and not having Daredevil in the
Yeah.
in the movie, at least for a
Okay.
cameo.
Okay.
I guess my hot take here is, one, the trailer's good. Ryan's just crazy and should possibly potentially be banned from the stream for hating on the other Spider-Man movies and not liking them. The long and the short of it is, if you own any of the books that Swaggle just listed off and you have them in a bin to sell, they should already have been on eBay. So start posting them while you're watching this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me kind of put a little point of emphasis on that. Here I have a couple sales of this Tarantula book that is pulled up from early in February 2nd. You can see that it's a one bid $50 book or a 7 bid $44 book. Where it sells today, if I scroll down here to what raw copies typically are getting, is well into the 150, 114. Now, granted, I'm not comparing apples to apples in terms of like the grades, but I'm just kind of showing you guys this one missing a value stamp. I'm just showing you guys that it's jumped quite a lot. And maybe more interesting than that is we had a lot of CGC sales for this book. Notably, one of them was in a 9.4 grade that sold right here at $656. That sale is the third highest sale that book in 9.4 has ever got. Like if I pull up this one from GPA, it's 656 is now the 2026 high. In 2022 it sold for 900, and I think in the same year it sold for 700. But I think the thing that I want to hear you guys talk about is that's a big number, like from a buy it now sale, kind of going back to 2021 prices. We see similar things going on with 9.2s, where we got a $425
all that
sale.
green. Holy cow.
Yeah, a lot of green. We got a $425 sale for this one in 9.2, and that isn't quite the record, but it's like the third highest price that the book has ever got as well. And so I guess the question kind of back to you guys, in relating to the spec is back thing. I mean, it's one thing to get like, cool, we saw a thing in a trailer, we got a lot of raw copies that are sold. It's another thing to get graded books selling around their 2021 price.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that's kind of crazy. What do you guys think about that?
I think that's exciting. I think like Swag, you've been talking about spec across the board, right? How it's back, how it's kind of alive, and I'm seeing it in different categories as well. Like what I want to talk about real quick is just this energy that seems to have entered the room, and then the questions or the thoughts related to that are: we learned a lot during the pandemic. Are we going to see people make the same sort of mistakes? Are there going to be irrational spikes that are just going to be fueled with emotion?
If
like
you've
they
got
were
all
during
new
the
people in
pandemic?
here again,
You might
like,
have all new
that maybe
people,
they
right?
didn't learn. during
We
the pandemic.
have a bunch of things happening at once. We have like the Ken Golden effect happening over at his auction house and the eBay stuff, right? I mean, and the Netflix stuff with him and how it's pushing his products kind of through the roof. We have what we just saw happen with One Piece and its popularity, rightfully so, but still, like, real interest and real increase in prices. We see Jeremy Padawer talking about the mangas and so on and so forth, and he shared something rather niche and unique today. But these conversations are happening in a way that they weren't happening, let's say, 2 years ago, or 2 or even 3 years ago, whenever the pandemic heat sort of cooled down. And now we see movie trailers actually moving the values of books, where for a few years we hadn't seen that happen. So whether we talk about specifically the Spider-Man movie or like dork books or absolute Batman or anything, the point is, across the board almost, we're starting to see an enthusiasm and a willingness to gamble on prices. And I'm not even using the word gamble in a bad way. Like we'll talk about the whatnot lawsuit later, but I'm just saying we're starting to see this. You know what? Let's just jump in. What's the worst that could happen? Let's buy some books. And that's a great signal for people that, want to sell, want to maximize, have been holding things. It's time to pay attention to these signals. And then on the other end, like Ryan just said, there are new people involved, but there's also a lot of people that are still here from the pandemic that might be sharing words of advice, that might be a little bit, less go for it, balls to the wall, if you will. So, but I feel like that energy is back. I think you nailed it months ago. You've been following it, and it's pretty hard to avoid or conclude anything else at the moment. It might be time that markets just start going.
I mean, I'll say though, I couldn't in good conscience say that 9-4 buy is a good buy. I can't. I mean, I don't ever want to make someone feel like bad about their purchase or anything like that, but like a spike like that just tends to be the one spike in the, in the run. Now it does look like that book in general has been trending back up. And I think a big part of that is the second appearance of Punisher component of it, because that book has been trending back up. And the second appearances, they move with it. They just tend to be a little lagging behind. So while I don't think it's unreasonable to think like maybe that book is kind of trending back positive, that sale is such an outlier that, I mean, I wouldn't expect to be making, like if somebody was buying it with some intention to flip it when the movie comes out, I think you're probably going to be disappointed with your result. But I don't know, you never know what's going to happen for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's probably not, the most optimal buy, in terms of like what they're spending on it. But just the fact that has happened,
It's cool.
I think is surprising in and of itself, because it's like we just haven't been there before. Like even when people do the FOMO buys, say like, I don't know, like Guardians 3, I'm sure had some FOMO buys whenever that thing came out, but it was just nowhere near like that 2021 price. And so that's just, I think it's just the interesting aspect to it is that
I feel like sorry, I was gonna say, I feel like the last time we really had it was maybe like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's been a long time since people were like going crazy on spec. Like it's just, everybody's just like, this is going to suck. So they don't buy anything. So yeah, I mean, that is a positive. Like it really is a positive, but like, because I mean, I've also noticed with a lot of like Facebook posts and Reddit posts, there are a lot of new people either coming back into the hobby or entering the hobby. They maybe aren't aware of what we went through 5 years ago. And they, I'm not somewhat like, these people are adults. They can spend their money the way they want. I don't feel like I need to protect someone from something, but it always sucks when you get burned. So you got to be aware of it.
But boy, that year and a half was a good time.
It was a great year and a half. Yeah, for sure. That was great if you were selling books.
What's above the census count on that 9.4? Like, is there a shit ton of 9.6s and 9.8s floating around, or is it pretty limited?
I think that the 9.8 might be pretty limited. Let me like kind of pull it up here as a quick look. So
that's like potentially.
So 9.6 191, 9.8 66. So
when's the last time a 9.6 sold?
Looks like a 9.6 was 90 days ago for $500. So the 9.4 outsold what the recent 9.6s have been getting. But Rob, I mean, you made mention of the fact, like one of your big predictions was like, it does cards lead the way for comic books? Maybe this is going to be a good year for comic books. Looking like that prediction might be pretty good overall. But I don't know, like, is this like a 2021 vibes again here? Because like, that's when we first, started talking and stuff. And it was like, yeah, are the card people kind of going into comic books again? Like what's kind of your sense here?
I don't think we're seeing that, or at least I haven't seen that chatter much. I've seen some people, I mean, I've seen some folks kind of like asking around, but I don't think it's like it was back in the COVID days where everyone was just looking to latch on to the next possible thing. But I've actually, I mean, even this week, I had some conversations with some folks about like some card prices are getting what some folks are thinking of like overinflated. And I had a conversation this week about someone about AF15 about like, I was looking at getting some cards, but the prices have kind of got ridiculous on some of the stuff that I was looking at. And then I go over and I look at like an AF15 and the price hasn't really moved that much in the last couple of years. Like, is it a good time to kind of sneak in and snag one or whatever, and whatever grade range you're looking at? So those conversations are happening, but I don't think they're happening around the first appearance of Tarantula.
Yeah, I mean,
All
for
right.
AF-15, like my opinion on AF-15 is it is just about like, I mean, nothing is a guarantee, right? But in terms of comics, AF-15 is about as sure of a blue chip type key book as you can ever hope to get. I
Yeah.
mean, just historic. Now, is it ever going to get back to those prices that it was hitting in the pandemic? Maybe in like 10 or 15 years, maybe then. But it is one of those books that you just look at it long term and it just goes up. Like Spider-Man is the king of comics. He is bigger than Batman. He's bigger than Superman. Like Spider-Man moves the needle. People love collecting Spider-Man. Like I love the Golden Age stuff, but like I still love Spider-Man. like Spider-Man stuff is awesome. It's super fun and it's just nostalgic. Like it's one of the main things I collected when I was a kid, and so I think a lot of people just can connect to him regardless because of the movies and what they collected before. People playing video games now, that have Spider-Man in it. Like there's just a lot that you can connect with. And that, like, man, the AF-15 cover is so good. Like it's so good. Like it's a key first appearance, but it is one of the best covers of all time.
You know what's funny about that is in the trailer, they obviously did the homage to it.
Yep.
And like you mentioned, Manu, they're like, oh, it's a little bit darker.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just kind of dumb, but like I never envisioned that it was like an overcast day on the AF-15 cover. And then when I like saw them do it in the movie and then I looked at the cover, I was like, oh yeah, I guess the background is pretty gray on this cover. But I don't know. I just thought that was funny to me that I just never really envisioned it that way. But I want to double click. Oh, go ahead.
I have two quick questions because since we're kind of talking about the AF-15 and stuff. So I've been going back and forth on potentially purchasing an AF-15 and I'll ask the panel because there's two things I'm looking at that both haven't really moved much in price and they're drastically different. And this will hit swag probably more than most. Should I buy an AF-15 or a Black Lotus?
I'd buy an AF-15, but I'm not a Magic guy. So
I love a Black Lotus. I think it's awesome. I don't know the liquidity of the Black Lotus as much as like
there's not that depending on what you're looking at, there's not a ton of them. They actually move pretty well.
But even like watching, like I do watch Alpha Investments and it sounds like he's been saying like vintage Magic isn't like super awesome right now.
It just hasn't done it. It hasn't gone down. It hasn't gone up. It's just sat since COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not really sure. I mean, like I probably personally would rather have an AF-15 because like I'm more into comic collecting. I have some vintage Magic cards, so I'd rather have that. And kind of what Ryan said, I mean, can't go wrong with an AF-15. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Black Lotus as well. If you're going to do vintage Magic, that's always going to be historic. But I have to think that, one thing to just be said, and I'm not saying that the Black Lotus is not this, but with the AF-15, with Ryan, you're talking about it being blue chip and like safest. Like, yeah, there's probably like Golden Age books that are, maybe better and safer to protect your money. But the one nice thing about the AF-15 is you'll always have a buyer. So worst case scenario, if like you ever have to sell it or you need the money back out, like it's probably like within a day you'll get it sold. Whereas like a Golden Age book, you might have to auction a lot of that stuff. So there's a lot of advantages in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, I had a 0.5 AF-15 and I listed it for, I don't know what I ended up. I sold it, I think, for like 11.5 or something like that. It was sold within a day. Like I listed it on Instagram and somebody had reached out and they're like, I want that one. It's just like, it's crazy. It's like a 5-figure book and it's just like gone. There's not many comics that in that price range that move like that.
Slide into my DMs with those low grade AF-15s. Oh, the second question that I had, I know obviously you talked about this in the video that you did, Swag, like AF-15 didn't move on the price bump even with the homage. I was wondering, did any of like the reprint covers or anything like that get a bump up from that? Like the more affordable, like CGC 9/8 of like, some of those homage covers or I know there's a few popular reprint covers that actually sell for a pretty decent chunk of money. Did those see any bump up just because they're a lower price point and more accessible?
I didn't check those ones specifically, but like maybe you're right that like, it tends to be that these like more affordable things are going to be more, impulse buys related to this stuff, but I don't know, Manu, I feel like you look like you were maybe going to say something about that, like because you had, I know you've had the facsimiles before. Maybe there's one that you've liked to collect out of all of them. But what's your thought on that?
That is the thought I was having. Like, it doesn't surprise me that the homage didn't, at least right now, move the price of AF-15. Part of that is because of what Ryan said. The AF-15 doesn't need a movie appearance to be the AF-15. It's sought after as it is. Maybe a copy or two got snatched up faster, but it's a pricey book. It does well in the market, so on and so forth. But no, when Rob just brought up the facsimiles and things, I got to thinking, oh yeah, I'm actually submitting another one. I have a PSA 10 of one of the ones that I really enjoy, which is the facsimile from it's not too long ago. I forget the year, but this copy comes in two versions, one with the barcode and one without. And the one that looks more like the AF-15, of course, is the one without the barcode, right? And the only difference there is where the AF-15, correct me if I'm wrong, says 12 cents. No, does it say 12 cents?
It's 12 cents. Yeah.
12 cents. This says $3.99, right? Like, that's how you tell it apart. But it's a really cool one. And it's like, $200 in a 9.8, $300 in a 9.8, depending on if it's barcode or non-barcode. But yeah, maybe those do have more interest right now, because that's a great way to own that image. And so I could imagine the homage spiking those, but makes sense that it might not do much for something that's already really expensive. But that's what got me thinking. I'm going to list one on eBay right now.
And you can say
I pumped it for you. You're welcome.
Sometimes big books can move with movies, though. Like, I remember, like, the first appearance of the Riddler, it really moved with, like, and that's a 5-figure book in almost any grade, and that book did actually move with that last Batman movie. So it can happen, but yeah, I mean, Spider-Man, I don't know if that one little shot is going to move an AF-15.
If they dropped an X-Men trailer tomorrow, what do you think the market, like, would it be as crazy as the Spider-Man stuff is? Like, the market's a little warm right now. People are FOMOing a little bit. Like, if obviously it's not we're not even close to that, but just if it happened, would
I think it would move more. I think it would move more.
I think it would move. I mean, nothing quite beats Spider-Man. Like, I think this trailer was maybe the third most viewed trailer of all time, like, period, like within the first 24 hours. So it's like, wow. I mean, it's really, they're really capturing kind of like a cultural moment. And speaking of kind of like specking on some of the bigger books, I have to say, and not financial advice, don't listen to me, guys, but like, the way that this trailer moved, and when this movie comes out, let's say that it's at least like a B plus, maybe it's an A- type movie. I think when we get the Avengers Doomsday trailer, and now you have Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, I mean, like, FF5, like, this might be that time to like find that FF5 if people are going to be this excited about it. And to your point, Neo, we're going to have the old Fox X-Men in that movie as well. So I don't know. We could get like a 1-2 big movie punch this year, which sounds crazy to say it, but I just think that, like, once you hear that Avengers music and you see Robert Downey Jr. again, people are gonna get excited for that. It's probably gonna happen.
Did the first appearance of Rogue get any bump up? I saw that there was like people specking on that, like that was her on the bus or whatever.
It's just such a bad cover.
Yeah.
Avengers Annual 10 is a cool looking cover, bro. It looks cool.
But not
it's
for
a cool looking cover, but not for the first appearance of
yeah,
Rogue.
Like, that's the thing.
And I thought Rogue was the wrong person on the cover every time I've had the book. I even had it in my childhood collection for some reason.
Yeah,
it's not the silhouetted person.
Yeah.
No. It's the green hair. I mean, like, the green outfit in the back. Like, yeah, I didn't even realize that until recently. Well, a year ago or something.
I didn't know if that moved at all or not, because there's that like one picture of a girl sitting on a bus and she has the white streak in her hair.
I would say that it probably did not move enough. Like, if people didn't, I don't think, connected the dots enough. But I will just quickly scroll down. I mean, we talked about some of these books on Key Collector. This is their trending 20. So the ones that moved, you have the first Boomerang, the hand right here. You had Bagman. You had Tombstone, his first appearance. You had I guess, a Death of Green Goblin. More Tarantula, more Venom, and you had the Scorpion, who also made an appearance in this. I thought it was kind of funny that of all the random Scorpion books,
like, we have been getting teased the Scorpion for like 10 years. I feel like it's been forever.
Exactly.
That's also a great cover.
It's funny because, like, this one moved, but at the time in which I did my video, I didn't see many ASM 20s move, but maybe that has changed. And then, of course, the Punisher getting a little bit of love too. So I don't know if anyone kind of jumped on the Avengers Annual train.
Someone, I don't know if you want to pull it up. Someone said Avengers Annual 10 is almost all green on GPA.
Nice.
Oh, shout out to Philip right here. Well, there you go.
It's a dope book. Yeah, shout out Phil. It's a dope book.
I mean, my thought on the X-Men spec though is just that, like, I feel like people are generally expecting Spider-Man. Like, I know Derek said like people have been kind of specking on mutants for a while, but I don't think there's been like the hype for it. Like, I think if we see something cool on screen with them, I do think that would be a big mover for a lot. And there's so many books tied to the X-Men that could potentially.
That's the thing. There's so many like random characters that people love.
Yeah,
that could go crazy.
Well, let's kind of put a fine bullet point on it. I mean, you know, I say it in jest on our thumbnail with Spec being back, but is it kind of unironically in a way? Do you guys think so? Or is this just like a flash in the pan sort of moment?
I don't know. I do think, I mean, we've been seeing it again. Like, I mean, we've talked about this a number of times. Like it has felt different for like the last 4 months or so. You know, it's like, just like from what I've seen, like on my YouTube channel, just like feels like people are more positive. I'm getting more views on comic related stuff. Like, it just feels like there's a renewed interest. Like in general, I've seen sales have increased for stuff I'm selling. Like, I mean, it does. And we have all the image spec that's been popping off, you know, I mean, stuff that we haven't had happen for, you know, since, I mean, 2021 was very focused spec, but like the other type of stuff, like probably haven't really had since like 2019. And so it's been a while. So I think it's kind of cool to see.
And I know, Swag, you just said, you say it in jest, you say jokingly, spec is back. And I'm going to just double down on what I said earlier. To me, it's not, but yeah, spec might be back. Great. But I think that's one part of the what's the word, the sentiment, or the overall willingness to participate and have a good time. That is what I'm feeling more of, and hearing and seeing more of, right? For so many years, it's like, oh, I'll just wait for this to go down a little bit more. Oh, comic books, no one's buying comic books. And we don't hear any of that right now. We're hearing people having a good time, buying books, spending more than 9.6 on the 9.4, you know, whatever, right? And so that probably drives spec. That probably drives a lot of things. Spec is a part of, I think, just this sort of more excitement to buy and anticipate and invest, whatever. So I think something is really happening.
Yeah. Well, I think you said it well. I mean, it probably is just a lot of it being like, hey man, it's been long enough. These books have gone down long enough. Like, what could be so bad if I decide to pull the trigger now? You know, so I think that's probably where a lot of people are. But speaking of interesting spec that is going on right now, it's not just the comics that are moving for Spider-Man. A lot of the cards are moving as well, which brings us to our next topic. Marvel cards are exploding. I love saying that. You know, it just brings me back to the day in which I made my 2021 original Marvel card video. But notably,
that's still your most viewed video, isn't it?
Like, it is.
My most viewed video too.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Like that and I became best friends with those two videos.
Actually, yeah, it really was a little bit notes for the chat, some inside baseball. That is when Neo and I connected. Is when we made those videos, and I learned a lot from Neo from a card side. So that was a good time for sure. But
we both commented on each other's videos, and we're like, wait, we both watch each other. I've been watching you for months.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. So now we're kind of in this, you know, resurgence again. Here we are, you know, 5 years later, and these cards are kind of having a little bit of activity once again. I'm just going to kind of quickly flash through some of these high sales. I mean, we have a PSA 1 of card 34, quote unquote, Spider-Man's rookie card selling now for $1,000. There's a bunch of auctions that are occurring right now where the mid grades at 5.5 sitting at 56, a 5 sitting at 41, a PSA 5 sitting at 43. I'll kind of just table it right there and just kind of throw it over to Manu. You know, this is some red meat for you, but what do you kind of make of this recent explosion of the Don Russ set once again? And what's just kind of your thoughts on this? Is this for real? Is this like correlating with the trailer as well? Like, what are you thinking?
Nothing to do with the trailer. It is for real, but it does feel like short-term spikeage, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. because I do believe when this settles on the other side of this, it is going to settle higher than, I know it's ridiculous to say, than they were a month ago. Literally, that's how fast some of these cards went from being $1,000 card to a $7,000 card. The set goes from being in high grade between $2,000 and $3,000 for 66 cards. Guys, there's 66 cards in the set. The set is 1966 Marvel Donruss. It's the first Marvel card set. Each character in the set gets 11 cards. And there are some exceptions if you take into consideration the back of the cards. Some people have deemed some of the cards rookie cards. Some people like to say the whole set is a rookie set, right? Because it's like the rookie year, rookie release. Anyway, there's been this increased enthusiasm, this new enthusiasm to get into this set. And I know some of the I know some of the people buying, and some of them have recently become like clients, customers, and friends. And there many people are coming from the sports card side. They know Marvel cards, they have an interest, but they've never participated. And there is something really interesting happening. And it's not just because he's been banging the drum for a while. He's had his favorite 66 card for a while, and he's added more. I'm talking about Gary V. And, you know, you and I, we did a video a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whatever. Justin and I have been talking about the set for years. I talk about the set as often as I can. I buy, I sell. I love it. I started investing in it a couple of years ago, and I'm happy to see this. But it seems a little irrational, right? Because the card, if we just talk about card 6 and card 34, the Spidey cards that are the most expensive out of the Spideys of the set, they're selling for like many, many multiples than they were. Did we lose swag for real? I'll just keep going. But
keep going. He warned us.
But Derek says Manu's all in on 34. I'm all in on 6 actually. But
Can't the guy just turn on his lights, you know, without you having to call it out? I was trying to slip away for a second.
They know the ninja popped up or whatever your icon is, right? And I was like, where'd he go? No, but so regardless.
I started the stream and I was just like, what is wrong with my lighting right now? I'm like, I don't have my lamps on. And I was like, let me just slide away while Manu's talking.
But you know what? The mic sounds good though. The mic sounds good though.
That's true. That's the only thing that matters, you know.
You know, I was paying attention to Mike. I didn't think of the lighting. But getting back to what I was saying, sorry. Dude, some of the cards are just like a set that would be for $2,000 to $3,000 is now $7,000 to $8,000, right? And that's okay. It's fine. But I think the buyers that are new to this, that have the pocketbooks to do this, there's a possibility that they become exhausted, right? Like they buy up enough and they're happy with what they've got. Because right now there's this, oh, I don't care, I need to get my rookie cards. Because some people are finally waking up to the historical significance of this set. This literally is the first time these characters are printed on cards, and it's Marvel's first card set. So whether this is a spike in prices, I think over time it continues up anyway because its historical significance is finally being recognized outside of an audience that already recognized it, but a small one. The Marvel card community is tiny, right? So Gary V's talking about how card 1 in the set is the first Marvel card ever. And that's a fun sentiment to be attached to. The entire set came out at the same time, but it is card number 1. And that card, which previously had done squat, except for set builders, because historically, card 1 and card 66, you know, kids back in the day, this is how the story's told to me, they were just bundled up and rubber banded, right? And so the top and bottom card would get pretty beat up. And so card 1 and 6 was always kind of sought after in high grades, but now it's sought after regardless. And even card 34 and card 6, they're not rare. There's been plenty of them. I've sold plenty of them. But maybe they become rare now with a larger audience desiring them, but they were always rare in high grade. The crazy premiums were high grades. Card 34, and guys, I'm sorry, I'm going, but like, I'll stop. I really love this set and I love what's happening. But there is a chance that prices come down, but they'll continue up, is my belief. But card 34 only has 2 PSA 10s. They're both owned by the same individual. Like, this would be a great time to bring those cards to market, but that gentleman is not doing that, or he hasn't yet. So he believes in the long term. But could you imagine if a PSA 4 is $5,000, if a PSA 3 is $5,000, a PSA 8 just got listed for $15,000 or $25,000 or $50,000 just got listed for, not purchased. Someone's trying to see what they can make happen here. The last high recorded sale of a PSA 8, and it's the last time we've seen one sell, was $6,600. That was thousands above what it had previously sold for. But if one of those 10s pop up, bro, like I used to say, it's a 50K card. I feel like right now it's a $250,000 card. If a 10 of that went to Golden, the way he would promote the first Spidey card ever, the rookie Spidey card, one of 2 and a 10, $250,000. I can't believe that guy's not selling. I'll take a breather now. I love what's happening, but take some precautions here because it could pull back some, but it's exciting.
Yeah, I
Let me kick
mean,
it over to
I was just gonna say, like, I think the tricky part there is like if this is like a very near like short term hype, going to auction could be tough because like auction could be
Sure.
months out.
Sure.
You know, that's kind of the gamble there is like by the time it comes up, has everything cooled off, has the interest waned? Now with that, like with your examples, you know, if there's only two of them, maybe that hype stays. But but yeah, like if you've got the twos and the threes that are going for thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
I'd probably be capitalizing on that.
Oh, you have to be selling into this. If you've got them to sell, you have to. And there's no shame in it. There's no feeling bad about it. The people that have this kind of money to spend, they're probably reasonably smart. They're having a good time. Like I said, I've spoken to some of those folks and they're enjoying themselves, man. And they're just happy to have a piece of it. And some people have more than a piece of it. They've gone really hard in the past couple of months. And
But I agree with Derek. It's got to be on a chain. Like,
oh
it's
no,
not
please,
on a gold
Derek,
chain,
stop it,
then
guys. Do not put $66 on a chain. Please don't do it.
It's the only
Please
way.
don't do it.
It is the only way. We're going to talk about chains later on in the show, but let me
Are
kind of
we?
kick it over to Rob here. You know, Rob, what do you kind of feel about the Don Russ set? Maybe give your macro thoughts on Marvel cards if you have more to say about it. And is this like sports card collectors coming into this? Like, what do you make of all this craziness?
I think you have a little bit more sports folks cross into this realm than you do the comic books, like we had in the previous conversation. This whole thing just feels like the ultimate, you know, I always say like they let you buy them back. This feels like the ultimate they let you buy them back situation. You know, we were talking pre-stream, like this card's cool. This card's not really all that rare in the grand scheme of things, unless you're talking like super high grades.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So it's not like you can't find one of these. You know, if you sell now into the hype and the FOMO phase, I would be willing to bet there is a decent chance that you'll be able to buy it back later at or less than what you probably sold it for in this. And if you can't, then you can't. But it's not like they're not out there. You know, this isn't something that's limited to 5 or 10 or 50. Like I don't even know. Have you looked at like the Universal Pop Report menu to see like how many are actually graded?
I know there's
I'll
we
pull
can
it
pull
up.
them up right now, but I mean there's hundreds graded of card 34. But there are only 2 10s off of memory. I think there might be 9 9s. And I think there's 30 or 35 8s.
Does it stand to be said though? I'm about to pull up the pop report, but like relatively speaking, yes, it's not rare, especially when we're talking from a kind of a comic book comparison here. But it is pretty rare relative for sports cards, right?
Yes.
Especially if you're talking like, you know, gray hat Pikachu level of rare here,
Wow,
That's
right?
what we're saying.
I mean,
right?
the tough thing there, though, is like that's what got card collectors into comics in the first place. They're like, oh, these pop reports are so different. And then they just learned, oh, they're
what's
different.
the card
you know,
number on that menu?
because there's not as many
34.
people,
34.
you know, that are buying.
You got to look
But
at the Universal Pop, not the PSA Pop. That's making a mistake there.
Where should I look at the Universal Pop?
Oh, I was speaking specifically PSA. So, but oh, I was right though. 2 9 and 30 for the 10s.
I got it. If you want to share my
Okay.
screen,
Sure.
Gemrate has Universal Pop reports.
Okay.
Shout out to Jem right here.
589 total graded across all grading companies.
Okay. And the breakdowns are here as well for us. Which grading companies? How many? Okay.
332 in PSA, 146 in CGC, SGC with 108, and nobody likes Beckett with just 3.
Okay. How many gem mints do we have? Only the two PSA.
Just the
10s.
2 PSAs, but a lot of 9s. 9 9s, 11 total 9s. Looks like 37 and an 8 or above. That's probably your line of demarcation of what's like legitimately available. But there's also a lot of these raw. Like, let's be honest. There's a ton of these out
there are a ton of
beat
these
up.
raw. But but same thing that we've said in the swag saying is, for the Marvel card community, yes, if we ever wanted a 34, we could go grab a raw one for $250. Those days seem to be over entirely, right? And I mean a low grade one for $250. It's still a pricey card, but not the numbers that we're seeing today. Right now, a card, a one that's obviously going to be a PSA 1 and might even have some sort of notation with it, like a miscut PSA 1 or an altered PSA 1 or whatever some of the designations could be. A raw card right now at auction is doing like $1,500, $1,600, $1,700. That card literally 2 months ago you would have purchased for 250, 350 max if you just really, really wanted it. Now, the point that we're making about scarcity is in the Marvel card community, the lower grades never felt scarce. It's just like you said, Neo, if we wanted it, we could get it. But if this market is actually opening up to just general collecting and someone wanting a piece of history, sports card people, TCG people, whomever might see this as something they're, an investment for the long term. In that regard, if that demand, because I don't know the size of that demand could make the card scarce. It hasn't been scarce before. That demand could, but that demand just beginning has certainly brought a bunch of them onto eBay. This is more than we've ever seen on eBay. Can we take a moment? Is this in poor taste? Swag, have you been watching the chat? There's Como has just said, "Rest in peace, Sam Keith," and I just wanted. I didn't. I don't even want that. Huh?
It just happened.
Rest in peace. That's awful. I do not want that to be the truth. Sam's one of the most. Sam Keith is one of the most amazing artists. One of my favorites. So many people's favorites. Has nothing to do with me. So many people's favorites, and just want to take.
It doesn't like it's true. I double checked real quick.
All right, let's rest.
At least according to Google.
Yeah. Google confirmed it when I was looking at it as well.
Yeah, R.I.P. Sam Keith.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Wow.
Were you saying, Manu, about the card here?
It might become scarce with the new audience of buyers, but it hasn't been scarce before, right? But if people want to buy it and hold it, it might. But what I was telling you about when we were talking about how quickly people should bring these cards to market, so on and so forth. Like, you have to strike while the iron's hot, because the prices now, just the asking prices, are so ridiculous. I just think there's a chance that even the people that have been buying will log back onto eBay and see and be like, do people think I'm stupid? Oh, now you want to ask 50 grand? I just paid you 5,000 for this last week. Now it's 50. And they're just going to leave. They're going to be like, all right, this is getting ridiculous. And then you'll see everybody start slashing prices to get the sale, because they're already in this mode where, like, no, I got to catch this. I got to catch this money. And the money might go. And then that's how the prices will come back to some kind of an earth. And they're not going to come back to where they were, but, a little bit down.
It does seem to, and correct me if I'm wrong, Manu, but it feels like that this set has also kind of spurned some, we were talking about spec earlier, but it does seem like other vintage Marvel stuff has gotten a little heat as an overflow from this. Like, I know that first Venom card from the 89 McFarlane set. I saw Justin talking about like some of those older from like I think it was 1980 or something. I forget the set.
Yeah, the Wolverine card.
Yeah, they're like square bound. They're not like a full size card. It seems like a lot of that stuff's getting some overflow effect, and I think it's being driven from this.
I will say
that scared me, because that's the same thing that happened the first time Marvel cards popped up. EMGs took off, and then everything else took off with the rise of that, and a lot of people got burned.
Hear me out real quick though. Because I like what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. I have had many conversations about the first Wolverine recently, and it's directly because Spidey took off. Let me get a piece of Wolverine while people aren't looking, right? And in fact, not just Marvel, I picked up my first Batman rookie card. I've never owned the card. Now I own a 66 Black Bat PSA graded, starting small, but picked up my first one. I picked up a PSA 6. Happy to have a piece of the action, right? It's just a rookie card that I never owned, and I'm happy to have it. I think it's very cool. And also, not just the first ofs, some of the less appreciated stickers from the 60s. I don't even feel like saying this because I don't have enough yet, but the 67 stickers are something that people are taking an interest in as well. The Marvel stickers, they're very cool, because a lot of the first appearances don't happen in 66, they happen in 67. And that's something that obviously people are going to catch on, and those prices will go up over time as well. Now, the difference that I wanted to make between what you said in the pandemic and like how 1991 Marvel Universe made all the Marvel Universe sets go up, everything, is these cards that you're mentioning and that I'm mentioning right now actually have historical significance. They're actually the first time those characters appear. So I look at it more as if finally people are starting to let's not assume some of these cards weren't always expensive. These cards in high grade are ghosts and are expensive, but now people want them so that they can say they own that first appearance on card. And I think that's a significance that even if, prices get a little out of hand and pull back, it's going to maintain its value over time because it truly represents something, a first of some sort. So I think that's a bit of a difference there. When the first go around during the pandemic, a lot of this education wasn't out. People were going for what they remembered. This is stuff people have learned about recently. When the pandemic first hit, I had no idea 1966 was a Marvel card set. I'm not the only person like that. Now, way more people know of 1966 than in 2020. And that's a difference, right? So they might go a little balls to the wall, but for something more significant.
Or you just totally throw strays at 90 MU. Okay.
No, I love it.
I want to point out that, even with the ridiculousness that was 2021 and all the cards that were sent in, honestly, the PSA 10 rate is not that high
for the holograms.
All of those cards. Well, even for the regular sets.
Okay.
It like I'm not saying that those are going to be like
impossible, but
no, they are. Yeah.
Not to say that the regular sets are going to be that valuable, but like it's still like it's like whatever 20% 10 rate or something like that. But like you guys said, the holograms are really difficult to find, and I don't know. I think it'd be cool if everybody was, interested in the holograms once again. But I don't want to go.
No,
maybe start arbitraging over to CGC. That's what I've been seeing people doing. They're taking the PSA like 9s and 8s and regrade them at CGC to get 10s.
I don't know if they still have it or not. I know someone that put together the PSA 10 hologram set.
Yeah.
Of 90 MU.
Wow.
And
I know a guy that has two of them, 2 of the hologram sets of 90 MU. In a PSA 10. I mean, it might be the same person. You and I might be talking about the same person, Rob. I don't know.
Let me kind of push this conversation just a slightly different path. We're still going to talk about the cards here.
Yeah.
Just a point of emphasis. It does. It's important to bring up that these 3 cards went up for sale a few days back. At auction. And they immediately jumped up to 56, 41. This one was at 41 when it initially got listed. We haven't seen many bids come in, if any bids come in the last, 3-4 days or whatever. And there's 1 day left on these. I think it'll be very telling, like kind of where this all shakes out. If when these cards end, do they get any more bids or does it just end right here? And it's my speculation that they're actually going to end right here. Like maybe if they get a bid, it'll be 1 or 2 more.
Can you click on one of those? What does the bid history look like?
Do we know what kicked these off? Like,
Gary V.
Is there something that caused these to?
Yeah, Gary V started.
Gary V.
It had a lot to do with Gary V, and then it was a domino effect, right? Because it finally got into the minds of some of the sports card guys to go after it. And then they started contacting some of the Marvel card guys about where they were, and one thing led to another, and a lot of buying started to happen.
So just to point Rob's question here for this particular one, lots of bids on the 12th, lots of bids on the 13th, tons and tons. And then
I was more curious about the buyer feedbacks. Like those look legit.
Oh, I see.
Oh, there's real buyers.
On the top one, scroll all the way
Not
up.
A bunch of 0. Yeah, 0.
Scroll all the way up and click on. Click on that.
What do you see here?
Who's this eBay seller? Wolverine Comic Shop. What up, my man? He's asking.
Stop scrolling down. Items bid. That's I mean, what I'm looking at there is the bid activity percentage with this seller. If you ever see that at like 90+ %, that's usually a red flag.
Oh, that means he bids on a lot of his own stuff. Wait, can you bid on your own stuff on eBay?
Well,
no, but it usually means like
they're bidding on a lot of the same person's stuff, meaning maybe they're like someone else's, like another account, like, but closely related.
So to that point, then, these bids seem legit. But yeah, a lot of activity up to March 13th, getting it to 5,000. And since then, we've had 3 bids come in. So
let's talk about that swag real quick.
Most people don't bid on eBay.
Was this like a 9-day auction or something? Like when?
I believe it was a 7-day auction because it's got 1 day left. So it's going to end.
The bidding started on like
tomorrow.
the 11th or the 12th.
It looks like it started a week ago. It's going to end on Sunday. So that means like it started on Sunday, probably going to end on Sunday.
Okay.
Or tomorrow.
It's the same account selling both cards.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those the
same
two
account here.
CGCs are the same account, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's amazing that a
That's a
CGC
ton of feedback.
55.
8K feedback on eBay is a massive amount. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you wanted to say more about this, Manu, before I kind of push it towards one other aspect here.
No, I think you and I have talked about it. This could have been a 4 or 5 day moment that you had to cast a net to catch some of the irrational spending, if that is what it is. And this could be people that got caught up and they started bidding, and then they saw more of them come to market, and they're just like, "Oh, let me pump the brakes." It could be that. It could be, and there could be a decline after this, or we'll just wait and see, or maybe it enthusiastically got to. Dude, $5,655 for a CGC 55 is nothing to sneeze at. I don't think that no one would have imagined that price for that card anytime in the near future, right? And so, like, even if it stops flat here, that's a great number for that card.
Definitely. Well, I think it's interesting, some of the things you guys were saying about people recognizing the card values and the excitement of people getting into cards. Shout out to Hakes Auctions here, who recently had a world record for the 1940 Superman card, 36, in a CGC 15 that sold for, say, roughly $30,000. This is the card that is recognized as Superman's first appearance. And so it's kind of interesting that you have a lot of this type of money going into these types of things. There was a Facebook meme that I thought was pretty funny and relevant. That was like, would you rather have for 10K the 0.5 of 15 or seemingly what some of these card 34s might start to get? And then lastly here, I talked about this post in my video, but someone brought up the fact that a 9.8 of New Mutants 98, which, of course, if you guys don't know, is the first appearance of Deadpool in his comic book form, but it is the first appearance, sold around $900. And then a PSA 10 Deadpool rookie card sold for roughly around that same price. So here you have the card being the same price as his actual first appearance in the comic books. And there was a lot of, people in the comments saying like, oh, you can't compare a PSA 10 to a CGC 9.8 because a 10 is a perfect grade. And I was just like, okay, like I can't believe people actually think that or saying that. Like a 10 seems like an accurate comparison to a 9.8.
It is.
But
It
either
absolutely is
way,
the comparison.
That card is
yeah,
very
either way,
hard to gem.
Yeah, I think there's
not
only
too
like
many.
40.
There's 40 on the census, but
40 and it
Ryan,
has a
let me
3% gem rate.
yeah, but Ryan, let me kind of bring you in here. We could talk a little comics and give your thoughts on the cards. You can go back to the Don Russ stuff too, but I don't know, like, what do you think about this? This kind of goes to like our manga conversation of like people get what they want to get, and like if the first appearance is in the manga, like does that really even matter if they're going to just buy a One Piece card? Like, you know what I mean? So what do you think about this and kind of maybe this card craziness?
I mean, I don't think it means that. I don't think it means that there's the same demand for them, right? Like that's the thing. Like, yeah, there's I don't know how many thousands of 9.8s of New Mutants 98. Like I know there's just thousands and thousands of them, and there's like I said, I think there's 41 of the X-Force Deadpool card in a 10. And so it's clearly there's way more demand on the comic side, but there are some subset of people that are interested in buying the cards, and they're willing to pay a reasonable price for them. I mean, I don't think it means that they're the same demand. Like even though the price is the same, it's like there's not the same demand at all. But like I have a ton of those X-Force ones with the cards inside, and I don't have any interest in buying a Gem 10, PSA 10 Deadpool card, but I prefer the comic a lot more. I don't know, like the card rookie stuff doesn't, I don't know, it's never really appealed to me. I like the Marvel cards, the DC cards, that kind of stuff has just never been my thing. It doesn't mean maybe I won't get some interest in it later, but I'm more on the card side. I'm much more on the things that have traditionally been more collectible cards, like like Pokemon and that kind of thing. But that's my take on it.
Neo, I did want to say you brought up. Sorry, Swag. I don't have to say that.
Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
Neo brought up the Venom rookie, and I just want to say, because for a second I was like, was that related? I did sell a Venom PSA 10 just the other day. Um, but the Venom, the 1989 card, not the 1988 sticker. And I'm looking to do a deal on the 1988 sticker. And I was like, wait, did that happen because of the rookie thing? But no, that gentleman and I had been speaking about that card previously because previously he bought a 9 from me weeks ago. And that's kind of like before this whole 66 Donruss thing even like started to spike. And then, we were able to do a deal on a 10. So anyway, sick card though, 89 Venom rookie. If you got them to sell, I'd like to buy them from you. Thank you.
Well, I have some data to clap back on Manu if you want to do a quick share screen for me.
No,
So
nothing that's going to tell me I'm wrong. Please, no, thank you. Next subject.
Here we go.
look at this is over the last year.
Mhm.
1990 Marvel MU. Look at how
Yeah.
much green is on this.
Wow.
Where was I wrong? What part of that is me being wrong?
You were making it sound like these cards were trash.
Never. I didn't say anything like that. I just
You implied. He implied, didn't he, Swag?
No,
I
I think
no.
we all
I-
agree that Manu implied
think-
that the cards
I
were
think
trash.
Manu,
No.
yeah, Manu literally said everyone should throw their cards in the garbage. I
No.
heard it. I heard it. Those
listen.
words come out of his mouth.
Let's spend some time on this because I do want to know what numbers some of these are doing. But I love 90 MU. But the truth of the matter is, I've always loved it. And the Venom in a PSA 10 was $1,000 during the pandemic, and now it's $75,
Nope, it's
$115.
$120. It used to be $75.
Okay,
And it is
so
up 57.9%.
listen, when it gets back to 1,000, we'll run this clip again, and I'll apologize for something. But
Listen, if Tarantula can get back to its near all-time highs,
That's true.
I believe in Venom as well.
no, I do. Come on, who's a bigger
I'm just
Venom
kidding.
believer than I? But when we were talking about the holograms, I do want to say the price difference between a CGC 9.5, which is their Gem Mint. Oh, I guess it's a 10
No, it's
now,
not.
right? It's a 10 now, right? Gem Mint 10. And they've
It used
changed
to be
it.
9.5.
It used to be 9.5. And their Gem Mint 10 to a PSA Gem Mint 10 for the holograms, the price difference is crazy. And I always see them selling like the Spidey, I think it was the Wolverine from 90 MU. The PSA did like 7,500. The CGC did 2,000. Right? It's a huge valley or a gap or whatever it is. But none of that matters. That's just me taking a little jab at CGC. I love CGC. Whatever. But those holograms are incredibly difficult to grade, and there aren't that many. And people do want to put together the sets, like the gentleman that Neo knows, friend of mine as well, someone that I know. And not that many people in the world are able to say they did that. That's why sometimes the Cosmic Spidey comes up and it sells for 15K in a PSA 10, and there are some of the cards from the standard set that have a lower pop, and people that want to make the whole set when it pops up, they pay a pretty penny for them.
Actually, can I say more about that? Neo, I want your thoughts on this. Can we say that maybe sealed product of 90, 91, and 92 MU might be a good time to buy? Might be a little undervalued, because there are technically hits here.
Yeah.
If you can pull those hollows and get high grades.
I'm looking right now because I'm actually I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like
to
sealed boxes
someone
are
in
like
chat
the same
that
price
had something
forever.
colorful to say, I'd just like to say I'm perfectly fine
What?
being wrong. I said that as a joke, but get a sense of humor.
So
So
now,
last time I checked really
the
quick,
sealed
last time I
products-
checked for 90. Last time I checked 90 MU, just to put it out there, and sorry, Ryan, I'll kick it to you. It's like, I think a 90 MU box, like $500, $600.
About 600.
Series 2, yeah, 650. Series 2, maybe like 300. And I think the Series 3 is like 150 or something like that. But Ryan, you were saying?
I was just wondering, like, what is the hollow rate in those? Is it similar to what like Pokemon was, where it's like 1 in 4 packs, or is it like 1 a box? Is it?
You get like
Yeah.
2 a box, I think, 2 to 3 a box.
And are
that
they
what
like
it is?
kind of like those similar to like the Topps cards that always stuck together, so the hollows really
No,
suck?
the problem is they're the first card in the pack,
Okay.
and the surfaces are dog shit on them.
Yeah, that's what it is. The centering and the surfaces, it comes with lines
So
and
basically a
scratches out of the
sticker.
pack.
The hologram is basically a sticker on a piece of cardboard.
Yeah, so I mean, so it's just like it's one of those things where it's like, would you ever really even want to risk opening it? Like if your odds are so bad.
No, I mean, your
back
odds
in the
are
day
really
when
bad,
they first
but
took off, the point was that you could grade your way out of it, but you really can't do that anymore.
yeah, in 2020 when it first skyrocketed, the pop was low. Like the cards that now have 300 10s on them had 5 10s on them. So anyone that was getting PSA 10s out of that set first, every card was selling for $200 to $1,200. Any popular character was $1,000 in 2020. It's just once PSA opened back up and all the cards got graded and added to the pop, that's when the pop exploded and prices declined as a result. What are we laughing at here? Surface issues, give it to Tag. That's funny. Can AI not pick it up?
No, it has a lot of trouble with surface
right.
issues.
If you want to throw a share screen up against Swag, I have the 90 MU. This is the most graded one. This is the Cosmic Spider-Man hologram. Look at this gem rate. 0.5%.
Yeah.
0.5, baby.
12 PSA 10s.
That's awesome to me, though.
Out of 2,300 total graded.
See, that's why I said send them to CGC. You get those 10s. You buy the 9s or the 8s.
They're at a whopping 1.6%. So good luck with that.
No, the CGC ones.
Oh, 4.6. Sorry.
Yeah. You're
cross grade, baby. Cross grade.
You cross grade the 9 or the 8 PSA and see if you can get the 10 CGC.
Hey, that's actually not, I mean, if that's going to happen, if you're going to get the 10 CGC, even if it's going to sell for a quarter of what the PSA 10 is going to sell for, it's still going to be 5 times what the PSA 8 would have sold for.
CGC is a little easier on the scratches. So like that's how you make, like if you find one that's light on scratching, like you might have a decent shot.
Interesting. I've never submitted a card for grading to CGC, although I have CGC graded cards. So
I've been watching some channels lately where they basically, that's what they do. They buy PSA 8s and 9s and they submit them to CGC to try to get 10s. And they, it doesn't sell for nearly as much as a PSA 10, but it sells for a lot more than the PSA 8 or 9.
Right. Rob, what are you showing us? I see a Cosmic Spidey up there and I see a MU box. That's what you're showing us?
I just thought he was showing us the back of his head.
When I got scammed.
Oh, dude. That was a legendary video.
With the scam box?
That's it. I kept it. That's right there.
Shit.
Oh man. Yeah. I gotta say, that does scare me a little bit, but after making my own video, I was starting to drink my own Kool-Aid. I was getting excited. Like maybe I should buy some sealed product and rip some boxes. I was kind of feeling it. But very interesting to see, how the Marvel card market is moving. I think if you got the Don Russ set, you probably want to sell into this hype. But I'd love it if we get another Marvel card explosion for the next year or so. Definitely be cool to see
coming. It's coming. Let's have fun.
Yeah. But shout out to Stony Maloney 1 with the $4.99. Get the stream to 50 likes. I agree, Stony. Thank you for that. And Jose says for the $10, a message from my wife to Swag: spray paint your Swagahoss sign cord black. Listen, all right. I've seen this comment before. Somebody has pointed it out. I'll point it out to you guys. See how like my sign has that cord right there?
Now I see it. I didn't know it before, but now I can't not see it.
I'm sorry that the cord is there. Like I feel like my background's pretty good. That's my one little flaw right there. Maybe
you don't have a sweet pipe coming out of your wall.
Yeah, at least it's not a pipe.
But Swag, why not just do what our friend said? Let's spray paint that thing. I'll be over there later. We'll spray paint. We'll have spray paint.
All right, spray paint. I think it'd probably be a little more efficient for me to put like black tape.
That might be easy. Yeah, that might be a good solution.
Yeah. Let's ease up on the background shaming. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean.
I still have a Christmas wreath up. I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
All right, guys. Let's move on now to our next topic, which was a huge story within the hobby legal land. But we got a whatnot lawsuit to talk about. Now, I'm not going to fully recap the story. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already heard about it. But suffice to say, friend of the channel, Paul Lesko, otherwise known as the Hobby Lawyer, actually has put together a lawsuit against Whatnot for accusing them of being an illegal gambling operation. I want to read a couple quotes from this article over on Sports Collect Digest, and then we'll kind of set up the conversation and see what you guys sort of think about it. But this is what Paul actually had to say in this. It's our belief that the way Whatnot runs its randomized breaks and the way that it does its repacks breaks, its Violative of contest, lottery, and sweepstake laws, Lesko said. The repacks themselves are additionally illegal because under California law, which when you're agreeing to terms of service, you're agreeing to California law, it outlaws what is called a prohibition on sports card grab bags, which we believe is a direct read on repacks. This has been kind of an interesting story. Whatnot has given their response where they claim that we are absolutely reject the characterization in this complaint. Gambling isn't allowed on Whatnot, and we strictly enforce the policy. Rob, let me kind of just kick it over to you, and maybe if you want to recap a little bit more about the story, but give it some extra context. What was kind of the discussion within the card world about this when this came out? And maybe actually for those in the chat, maybe some of the people are not familiar with it. I mean, can you give us a little bit of a breakdown of like, what is even the repack breaking thing that Paul is actually talking about here?
Yeah, so I think the key distinction to make, well, there's a couple things. One, what he's really going after isn't so much that like breaks are gambling. He is going more after the way teams are distributed in breaks. Like it's the gamble before the gamble even begins. Because the way a lot of these work, both for traditional wax boxes and for repacks, is there's basically two primary ways to sell. You can sell as PYT, which is pick your team. So if you want to buy the Lakers, you say I want to buy the Lakers. It has a set price. Most of them are random teams. So they put together whatever the break is, and then they auction off the various teams. So they would auction off the Lakers. They would auction off, they would auction off like 30 spots to the break. And then once those 30 spots are sold, you have no idea what team you're getting. Then they randomize it, and then you are randomly assigned a team. So the gamble begins before you even open a pack. That's kind of one of the big things that he is going after. The other thing that he's going after on the repack side of things is there is a California law on the books that I did a video on like 3 or 4 years ago that if you read it, it basically says repacks are 100% illegal. Like the arena clubs, the courtyards, all of that stuff, it does not fly in the face of this law. It's just one of those things that nobody actually wants to enforce. So he's kind of looping that in as well. But the weird thing with this is that Whatnot's terms and service require arbitration. You can't actually sue them in open court. So none of this is going to play out for the public to see. And no matter what happens, there won't really be any legal precedent set because it's not like a case on the books that if, say, Paul Lesko thrashes them, that someone else can take that and then go, well, I'm going to use this precedent to go after eBay Live or Fanatics Live or one of these other ones. The other thing that's come out in this is he has, because I've looked at the filing, but it's like 150 pages. He has very explicit evidence of just straight out fraud where the breaker is literally texting people being like, you want to bid on this team, it has the case hit in it or whatever on the repacks side of things, because they could technically know what's where, when they're putting these things together, because it's a handmade product. It's not coming from Topps or Panini. So there's like, he has straight like screenshots of text of, hey, you want to really make sure you win the Chiefs tonight or something, along those lines. And then there's other ones.
Wasn't there something where Whatnot was like requiring like certified repacks from
they
PSA
are, but the rumor was
like
that they dropped that because the breakers complained it wasn't as profitable.
Rob, you can talk about this thing if you want to.
Screw the consumer, right? That. It doesn't matter.
And then the other part of that was people basically saying like, hey, bid this up. Like they were setting up people to show bid on their stuff, like
sure,
to bid up the prices on teams or spots and breaks or whatever. So
I'm pretty sure it's
a mess
defensive,
all
it's
around.
Defensive
basically.
bidding. It's not show bidding.
Yes, it's defensive bidding. Yes.
Yeah, Manu or Ryan, like, what do you kind of make of this whole situation, or if you want to jump off of what Rob kind of laid out there?
I mean, my whole thought on all of this in general, it's all gambling. Like, it's all gambling. Everything with cards, everything with packs, it's always been gambling. It's just that nobody ever wants to actually do any enforcement of it. Like, I don't have anything against it. Like I bought cards when I was a kid, but you're training kids to gamble. Like that's what you're doing. And now it's just adults gambling, you know? And so, I mean, I feel like it's kind of weird, like just like, and maybe you have to hyper focus on something because like that's what you can actually go after. But to me, all of it, like if you are paying a small amount of money on the chance to get a larger amount of money, you are gambling, whether that's packs or blind bags or Courtyard IO or, you know, the what is it, GameStop power packs or any of this stuff. Like it's all gambling. Like I mean, I don't know how it can be looked at any other way. Um, but I don't think anybody probably really has the stomach to do the enforcement that would be necessary for it. And I imagine there's a lot of money out there that's going to push against any type of enforcement. So I don't have
The
a lot
government
of
figures out how much money they can make in taxes off all
well,
this.
that yeah, that's the question. If they actually if
if
there's a financial benefit, but still like man, like to me, like how do you even justify having packs of cards being sold to kids? You know, like you can be like, oh, they're you know they want to play the game, but I mean, we heard what was it, the Upper Deck CEO that said his son stood over the garbage can and just opened the packs and threw everything in there except the hits. Like they are not buying these things to put together sets, you know, for the most part. Like some people are, but you're you're gambling for the hits. Like that's what it is. And
so the legalese around box cards versus repacks is the whole no purchase necessary, like you know what you're buying, things like that. Like there is a legal distinction between those two. That it might not make sense, but there is a legal distinction between a sealed box of 90 MU versus buying into a repack of 90 MU.
Yeah, I think you're right. The repack thing, because to put a extra point on that, it does seem like the reason that those things are okay, or if Magic the Gathering sells sets or whatever, is because they as a company are disclosing, you know, what the actual pull rates are for these things. But the repacks, like no one's enforcing that stuff.
but
So
how does that not make it gambling though? Like casinos, you know your rate, you know what the odds are for things, but it's still gambling.
It's still gambling. I don't think Paul Lesko is saying that it's gambling, sue them. I think we all know it's gambling. Everyone knows it's gambling. And I don't know enough about it to speak like, but I think Paul Lesko is saying that the mechanism of the repacks is unfair. Like it has.
Well, it's not just the repack; it's regular breaks too. It's well, like I said at the top, it's the method that the slots are being assigned is the gamble, not the opening of the product.
Okay, so let me catch up then. Okay,
okay,
no, please,
well,
please no, I'm learning from you guys.
Well, he also just pointed out that the system itself, you know, just the fast, auction starts, like the short times, the fact that you have somebody that's, you know, being this influencer that's pushing it, all of the stuff that, you know, everyone has complained about with Whatnot before, and that there's no warnings that are on the, you know, app itself when you log into it.
So basically, as foolish as this is going to sound, basically everything that, you know, some people complain about that I don't, you know, it's not the I, but you know this, Swag, and we've talked about this. And there are friends of mine that are great sellers on Whatnot. There are great environments to be a part of a Whatnot, but I fucking hate Whatnots. All that yelling and screaming to sell something, it's just cringe. It's annoying. It's irritating. All of the uneducated purchases that take place because the guy on the screen or the gal is lying blatantly about what this thing is worth, and people are bidding it up, and there's this enthusiasm, there's this make-believe camaraderie in the chat, the GGs, the congratulations, and all of this nonsense. When you turn your phone off, I bet you're more depressed. I bet you're more depressed. I bet the hype from that purchase goes away. The dopamine from that purchase goes away. And you're looking for the next thing to get
that's
that.
Why you got to log back in and buy again.
And that's exactly right. And so this is what
that's actually what Paul talked about.
That's the point.
Cycle. Yeah.
The point is this thing is designed in that way to capture that sort of whatever emotional void an individual is trying to fill, to capture it and keep them sort of addicted to the system. And I've always been a complainer of this. I've always hated it. I think it's distasteful. I think it's disgusting. And this is the first time that someone's trying to say like, oh, someone should do something about it. And so I don't want to sound like the hater against Whatnot, because again, there are reasonable, responsible people on that platform as well. But there's a lot of bullshit that goes on there, completely has been for a long time. And I like that somebody is taking an official stance against it. So I'm not saying I'm hating on them. I'm always hating on them. I don't like Whatnot. But I like that somebody is trying to take a more professional approach to creating this awareness. Is it going to get anywhere? Is it going to do something? I don't know. People like gambling. People like the rush of it. People like doing dumb shit. So I really don't know. But I do agree that Whatnot is kind of a cesspool.
And,
is it fair to talk about? Oh, go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
I was going to say the key difference, talking about like boxes and buying into breaks, like the key distinction is like if you buy, I just picked a random box that I have behind me. If you buy this Final Fantasy Collector's booster box,
Flex.
Let me get that.
You know what you're buying. You are buying this box. There are, I don't remember how many packs are in this, so there's X number of cards in here, and you have a chance to potentially hit something. That's the product. Whatever happens in here is a different story. When you're buying into a break, whether it's repack or regular, you have no idea what you're getting. You could be getting 1 card, you could be getting 30 cards, you could be getting no cards. And they have rules in place that they have to send you something. So even if you whiff, you get like a random 30-cent card in the mail. And that's specifically a loophole to get through like the gambling aspect of it. But to me, that's the fundamental difference between buying a box and buying into a break. I know exactly what I'm getting here. I am buying a box with X number of packs and X number of cards. If I buy a spot in a Final Fantasy break for, I don't know, pick a character or whatever, I have no idea what I'm going to get.
Well, let's double click on that, Rob, because let's say that repacks become problematic here, because to me, I'm like, yeah, I understand new product, you're ripping it, we understand, but a repacks, this is where it gets dangerous. And then let's talk about maybe the house of cards that sort of comes with this, because as we all know, like sort of the repack infrastructure in a lot of ways is keeping afloat of like the entire card hobby. I mean, this is like, the AI explosion within the stock market. It's like almost like similar here, that if it goes away, then like, what does that mean for
I was
the entire
told
hobby?
that cards
And
only go up. So
they do only go up if people can do repacks. So Rob, say more about that. Like, what do you think about this? Is there too much money that's going to actually defend this? Like kind of what Ryan was saying.
I think the likelihood of repacks actually going away is probably small. It's more on the table today than it ever has been, just because, Pandora's box has been not opened, but the lid's been lifted a little bit on it. If repacks actually completely went away, it would probably decimate secondary card prices in the sports card market, because they do prop a lot of stuff up, and it's not even necessarily
collectors.
that
You got them all on his side now. Oh man, they're gonna love hearing that.
What's that?
I said true collectors are going to love hearing that. Real collectors.
Well, here's the problem though, true collectors. All the cards that you have in your collection now would probably drop in value. So
but they don't sell. True collectors don't sell their cards. So
yeah, they
don't care.
They say they don't care. They say they don't care, but carry on.
They say they don't care, but they do. The amount of liquidity that they inject into the secondary market is absolutely insane, and it really it's a trickle-down effect to everything else. Now, I think the least likely scenario is, I laid out a few different scenarios in the video. Probably the most likely scenario is, and maybe it's like 50%, Whatnot wins and nothing happens with this. And once again, this is arbitration. We're not really going to know for sure. But let's say there's a 40% chance Whatnot wins. And then let's say there's a 35% chance that Lesko wins and his clients get the bag, and they roll out some semblance of improved consumer protections, because that's one of the other things that he's fighting for. Then there's probably the smallest chances is that like repacks just disappear completely. And even that, it would just be on Whatnot, because remember, this is arbitration against Whatnot only, and it doesn't have broader implications on anything else. Now, Whatnot's the biggest selling platform, so even if just Whatnot banned repacks tomorrow, it would have, but everyone else could still do it. It would still have huge trickle-down effects on everything else.
Did you buy that in their statement where they're like, repacks are like a big part of the hobby and we're just 4%? So whatever they said.
The trick there was the way that they worded that. And before, I'll answer that in a second. Let me finish off the things that could happen. I think the other one that could happen that's slightly more likely than them completely getting banned is that they exist with like way more oversight. So you could sell them, but you now have to very strictly follow X, Y, and Z rules to be able to
Mm.
sell them on our platform. And we don't know what that could do to the liquidity of them. Or do they still sell as fast if all of a sudden you can't do all these, games of games to get people even to buy in? What you just asked, the percentage thing, and I forget what it was. It was like 4% of the sellers on Whatnot sell breaks or something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe it was
4% right
2%.
here. This is, and while sellers
So,
who break only make up 4% of our seller platform.
which is probably factually correct. It's 4% of sellers. I would love to know the percentage of revenue. That's the difference.
Right. Because they're the big whales that are moving all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, no
I'll say,
offense
like,
to the people selling clothes and handbags. I don't think they're selling 32 break spots every hour at thousands upon thousands of dollars a pop.
I did see an interesting article though where I felt like it was really misleading. They said breaking platform Whatnot is being sued, and I was like, that is a stretch. It's like that's not everything that Whatnot does. Like there's a lot of sellers that don't do like that don't do any type of breaking when they're selling. Like you still have that high pressure environment that's there, but it's not necessarily the breaking side of it.
Well, that's a good point, Ryan, because to me, when I think about like from Whatnot's perspective, they're kind of like, we're just the platform, like whatever people decided to do, how they decided to run their shows or sell, how they decide to sell, like that's not really on them. So I don't know, obviously I can't speak legalese and stuff, but like it seems like it's going to be hard to pin this on Whatnot. As opposed to like, yeah, there's just some unscrupulous sellers doing shady stuff.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they get pushed that they have to start banning people. I mean, because it's still like, it's not like they can just be like, oh, you can sell drugs on our platform and we don't, we're not responsible for that. Like there's still like, they're still responsible at making that platform available. So I think there's still going to be something that you could argue that they do have some level of responsibility for this. I think, man, I didn't realize that they had gotten rid of that like requirement for the like having the certified repacks and that kind of thing. Because like I feel like that looks pretty bad in this case. Like you could say like, oh, they were going to do it and now they decided, we're not doing it.
And here was the thing with the whole certified repack thing. It sounded great on paper, and I've only heard that they've gotten rid of it. I don't know. I have no fundamental proof that they have, but there's been enough chatter that it seems like they have. But even if they didn't, here's what people were doing. You basically just needed, like, people were describing this to me as they set a curtain up between one half of the room that was selling the repacks and the other half of the room that was making the repacks, and essentially had it as a different company. And that's all that changed. So really it was toothless to begin with, the way some folks that are in this business described it to me, of what small hoops they had to jump through to suddenly make the repack certified. Because, and the other problem with Whatnot is, and this is why you see most of like, the Whatnot seller crash out stuff compared to Fanatics and eBay Live. Their vetting process is terrible for new buyers. You could sign up in like 30 seconds. It's a little bit more involved than that, but it's not much. It's very easy to create a seller account on Whatnot. Like you basically apply, and then I think you get thrown through like a crash course training thing, and you're basically auto yes. Like I don't know anyone that's ever been rejected from signing up for a Whatnot account, where eBay Live is a rigorous process. It takes weeks. And I know large sellers that have not gotten on that platform. And Fanatics Live is, I believe, easier than eBay Live, but still 10 times harder than Whatnot. And I think that's part of the reason why Lesko is going after Whatnot, because the barrier to entry on bad sellers is extremely low, and it just leads to shadier stuff going on.
Yeah, that would be a good fallout, if Whatnot has to do better restrictions to just kind of clean up their community and things like that. Because, I'll extend an olive branch. I don't always use Whatnot, but I think it's a platform it's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it being, a selling platform in theory, but it does feel like it's kind of created a culture that is like not ideal. But I think you're still always going to have, the breaking, gambling, addictive nature, no matter what ends up happening with this. Like I don't really see it going away.
Yeah.
The statement that I remember from their report that I think it was them that said that I didn't really like is they said breaking is like part of the hobby, and
Yeah.
I don't think it was until very recently. Like
It always was. It just the extreme of, I shouldn't say always. It's been around a lot longer than people realize. It just wasn't the dominant force that it is
I mean,
today.
because I feel like in most history of these different, like whether it's sports cards or Pokemon or whatever, people could get access to product. Like that's been the big difference over the last, like I'd say like 5 years, is that it's gotten really, really hard for like the average person to get access to this stuff, and so they're forced into buying into these, into breaks and that kind of stuff. I feel like yeah, maybe it's been around for something that's like really expensive or whatever, but I don't feel like I ever really heard about this until much more recently. And
I mean,
maybe
it's been
maybe
around
Whatnot
for
just made it more widespread.
COVID boosted it. It's been around for quite a long time, and it was more like back in the day. It was more pure in its intention. It was more about like, hey, people want to buy mass quantities. So like instead of buying an individual box, they want to get into multiple cases of a particular product. And it would be like the goal essentially was, let's get 30 people around that collect 30 different teams and buy in a mass quantity and split that cost across 30 different people. And everyone's just getting the teams that they actually collect. Like that in its purest form, that's the whole point of breaking. And that's how it started. And then as, case hits and product hits and these huge chases kind of started driving the market, and COVID, it's driven people more and more to that. And it's not so much about product accessibility. It's, you can walk in and buy a box. That's no problem. It's just that the prices of the boxes have gotten so insane that they're basically microtransacting it. A $10,000 case of Flawless, most people can't buy that. Like the most expensive products people can't buy into, but you could buy into a random spot to maybe hit a card out of that Flawless case for $200 or whatever, whatever it would be.
Which is such the silly gambling mindset to have in the first place. And this is a little bit different, but you kind of reminded me of this, and I kind of want to just float it out, and maybe Manu and Ryan, you'll have thoughts about this. But speaking of spec coming back, speaking of like, comics being new, a new thing again, you know what I'm starting to see return a lot more in comics that was a 2021 thing? Raffles. For those who don't know, the raffle thing is like, let's say we have a $1,000 9/8 whatever, and I'm a seller, and I'm going to sell 10 spots, at $100 a pop. So like, give me $100, 10 people sign up, I spin a wheel, and then whoever gets picked wins the $1,000 comic book. And this is like becoming a thing. And it is straight up illegal to do that. You cannot do this, but people are starting to do it, and they're getting away with it. And I think that's crazy. So I don't know if you guys had
where are you seeing it? Because I have seen some raffles on Instagram, but it's but like, not, I haven't seen as much as we used to see back during like COVID. Like COVID, I felt like my feed was just like inundated with them.
Yeah.
Like
I guess to me, I'm just starting to see it again. Like I hadn't seen it for years, and I think it's crazy that on Instagram is to answer your question. Yeah, that's where I'm seeing it. I'm not on Whatnot enough to know if it's there, but I have to assume that there's some sellers that are doing it. Why wouldn't they be doing it? But I don't know if you had more thoughts on that.
I used to see that in a lot of Facebook groups, like the Razzes and the raffles and stuff.
I mean, to me, it's my thought was always like, it's wild when you see like people buying into those, and it's for like a $20,000 or $30,000 book, and they're paying $2,000 for a spot. Like, I'm just like, crazy. There's no way. Like, there's no way. I'm just gonna like toss $2,000 into the wind, on the chance that I win that book. Like, it just, those are wild to me.
Well, I mean, Courtyard IO is basically just like an advanced version of a Raz. Like you're spending $100 a pull to try to hit the big chase. The difference is you're just getting something smaller back in return if you whiff.
At least.
I don't know. See, like I actually am much like, because I'll say like one of the things I've dove into over the last few weeks was the GameStop Power Packs. Now, I don't have access to it because it's like you can't just get access like a beta, but like there's a there's a number of channels that open them, but there's one channel I've been watching. What's it called? Paper Tigers, where he got beta access, and basically he just runs these like events on his channel where they have like teams, and you're basically buying slots on it, and then like so you'll have like 2 teams of, or they'll like, what would it be, like 8 teams of like 10 people, and then they're all pulling cards, and then they're adding up the total, and then whoever, whichever team wins that round moves on to the next round, and the next and the next and the next, and they ultimately at the end will have like one person that wins and gets all the cards from the whole thing. And it's like it is super entertaining to watch, and I am sure it is illegal because it is just totally gambling.
Gambling on gambling.
It's so many levels, but it's so entertaining to watch. But my point was there that like from watching all of this, if you are trying to get that like whatever that dopamine hit from opening packs or whatever, you are way better off going on to Courtyard or going on to GameStop for the power packs than opening packs, because your odds of losing, like the percentage of money you're going to lose on your investment is so much better there than in opening packs. Like I've watched guys open like sealed boxes that cost like $1,000 and get literally $85 in cards. I mean, you're just getting destroyed. Whereas like, at least in like the power packs, like I feel like maybe your worst case, you're losing 50% of your money instead of like 90%. I just like, to me, if you're going for a dopamine hit, I'd go for that over opening packs. Like packs is just a crapshoot.
This segment not sponsored by
Courtyard. I was gonna say automatic with the ad read for Courtyard IO.
Shout out to them. Send me money.
Sponsor the Ungraded Truth. But I don't know, Manu, do you have any last little thoughts on this one, or with the raffle thing? I just thought that was interesting.
Getting ready to raffle off some 66 Donruss.
I can't talk about raffles because they're illegal. No, I did look into raffles. Early on in Instagram, I used to see them, or during the pandemic, I see them everywhere. I've participated in a few. The first one I ever participated in a raffle. I actually told my cousin I was fresh to the pandemic. We were all fresh to the pandemic. I was fresh to Instagram, and I already knew what I wanted to do. And I was like seeing these people do raffles, like what the heck is this? Filling up spots and stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're doing all this stuff. They're executing it all on their own. It was fun and exciting. And I told my cousin, I said, yo, get into one of these. The book was like $325. It was a $20 spot he bought, and he won. And he was like, what do we do? What do I do now? And I was like, well, I just started an Instagram page. I'll sell the book for you. And that was one of the first books that I sold, was the one that he won.
And then you use those proceeds to buy into more raffles.
I might have. And I did win. I have won another raffle after that as well. So from time to time, I've participated in raffles, sometimes just to help fill a spot for a friend that's doing a raffle. But I saw them go away. So it's really interesting to hear that they're coming back and you're seeing them. There are some pages that exclusively do raffles, and they didn't necessarily go away. It just got real quiet. Like spots don't even fill. Then they got to have the second raffle, the mini raffle. And listen, I'll just say this. No one get me in trouble, please, whatever, right? Yes, when I was first starting, I was running raffles, some. But I did it after I created like a decent amount of engagement through my Instagram stories. I did it on my stories, and I did a 24-hour fill or kill, essentially, right? Like it either gets filled or it doesn't, and I'm not dragging this thing on, right? And I would do something very reasonable, and at the same time, I always had disclaimers. And anyone that's here that's participated, they'll remember. Like I used to have a whole page dedicated to, if you can't afford to flush this $100 down the toilet, you can't afford to participate in this raffle. 10 people are going to lose. One person, or 9 people are going to lose. One person is going to win. It's that freaking simple. If you don't got it to lose, you don't got it to play. And that was it. And I felt good about me because I put that messaging out there, and we always had a good time. But as my brand started to grow and there was more attention, I stopped doing raffles because I didn't really want the heat of it. And that's about it. In California, I looked into it. It is illegal. And the only way for me to do it was to become a nonprofit or something of that sort. And then I just stopped looking into it.
Yeah. I think it's super interesting. I mean, again, they're popping up again. Maybe more conversations about this. It feels like, spec is back 2021, influencers are to blame again. It's like the good old days, we're back in the good old days.
There you go.
All right. Well, shout out to Hurton here. with the $2 that says crime suspense 17 or 20. Let's pull them up, shall we? Crime suspense number 17 is the gunshot cover, and crime 20 is the hanging cover. Ryan, what do you think about that?
I'm a crime 20 guy. I think it's a creepier cover, so that's the one.
20 is creepy as fuck.
It's the eyes. The eyes are super creepy.
Yeah.
I'm on 20 as well. I'm on team
What's the
20.
other? We've
Vinny,
already
you
seen
got-
both of them. What's the other one?
Yeah, we got
Oh,
17, 20.
all right. I'm gonna go with the hanging man because this other one just doesn't look cool to me.
There you go.
There you go.
Clean sweep.
There you go. Huracan,
Ryan,
shout out.
which one sells for more? I think you know the answer to that.
I'm almost certain the hanging cover sells for more.
And that's the obvious choice.
All right.
Oh, wait, speaking of selling for more, do we have a Dork versus Batman update? I'm not like stepping
Nobody
on
is
anything.
buying Dork. That's
Well,
the
we
problem.
will-
Because
we
I am
will get-
losing this bet right now
Oh,
because
okay.
nobody's
Do we
buying
have
the
a
damn
segment
book.
coming up?
We got a segment.
Just
Don't
pay me
worry.
now,
Don't worry.
Ryan.
Everybody,
Just pay
Yeah.
me
I know.
now.
I know everyone's most excited about our Dork versus Absolute Batman segment.
That should
But
be how we
before
end
we
every
do,
show for the next year. That should be the last segment before we end the show.
Oh, man.
We probably are gonna
I've
end the
been
show with
tracking
it.
and I'm just like, someone's just got to buy that damn book, and nobody's buying it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Going forward, that should be the last. I'm proposing that should be the last segment in the show.
that is a deal. It would be the last segment, but we got to talk about this segment before we get there. Another one of everybody's favorite things to talk about, which is, of course, PSA increasing their prices. Guys, if you don't know, PSA just recently made a post that had this to say: last call for launch pricing. You still have time to submit comics and magazines with launch pricing before our introductory period ends on March 31st. If you guys don't know, when PSA initially came out with their comic book and magazine grading service, they came out with their pricing at this $29.99 for Modern, Modern Plus $44.99, et cetera, but they made this an announcement that it's a initial launch price for their services. Now we're hitting at that time where they're going to be changing that, and they say on April 1st we're going to get the new prices. I mean, I think we have to assume that the prices are going to increase. I find this really interesting, considering if you go over to CGC right now, and if we're to compare, services, $29.99 for the Modern at PSA. Modern at CGC right now is $27.
That is
so
the
on.
bulk, though. So
Okay. Wait, the bulk right here?
Yeah, the top one is the bulk, the 27. So the next one down is the Modern, which I think would be the fair.
I'm sorry.
30? Okay.
You're right. You're right. Let me reset and set that up. Thank you for that correction. Their price being $30, PSA's prices being $29.99. Right now, their prices roughly match that of PSA. But since PSA is now going to be getting rid of their launch pricing here, I think we have to assume that means that PSA's prices are now going to be more expensive than CGC. I'll kind of throw it out to you guys. What do you guys think about this? Could this be a mistake from PSA's standpoint?
Well, I think their launch price is $24.99. I could be wrong, but it's lower than that. Like they have there's like a discounted price. They didn't show it on there, but they do have a discounted price. So I think it's going to go to the matching price where they're going to be the same. But the tricky part there is, though, that CGC is then going to be quite a bit cheaper because almost nobody submits to CGC paying the full fee. Like almost everybody has either the 10% off account, the 20% off account, or if you're a dealer, the 25% off. And so like for me, I use the 20%. So like if I'm submitting a Modern, it's $24. And so and most people that maybe they don't have that, but they have the 10% off, they're getting it for 27. So I mean, to me, if I would say the thing is, if your reasoning for sending to PSA was that the price was cheaper, I don't think your reasoning changes with this, because $3 or $5, if that's not enough. Like because like the selling prices of the books for the CGC books, generally, like there have been examples like the Superman 1 where the PSA sold for more, but generally have been higher. And so to me, the reason you're sending to PSA is probably because you don't want to send to CGC. And so I don't think it's going to change anything in terms of submissions, but it is also on April 1st. So maybe it's just a joke and nothing will happen when we get to April 1st. I don't know. But yeah, I don't expect it'll have much of an impact in terms of submissions.
Rob, you have this graphic right here. You want to walk us through this one?
Yeah, so it says right here,
Yeah, there you go.
That's price, introductory pricing, $26.
Okay, I apologize then. I had it wrong here. Their introductory price. You're right. It's going to match the CGC.
We're assuming. We're assuming.
Right.
Yeah. So it is right now a few bucks cheaper. What else do they have listed for this vintage introductory pricing at $40? Because it's going off the declared value. Faster turnaround time is $40. Vintage introductory $55. I don't know how this compares to CGC pricing off the top of my head.
They're almost like one. They're like within $1, I think, of each of the tiers. They are very very close.
45 for vintage here, 105 for high value for CGC. So yeah, very, very close in terms of their prices. I guess it's going to change to match, but stands to reason what Ryan, you were already saying, where most people have kind of an account that gives them some percentage off. But interesting. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be a big uproar. Like it's unlikely that the comic client base within PSA is big enough to like cause this to be some kind of uproar. And I think you're right that people are submitting to PSA for different reasons than just, they think that it's cheaper. But I don't know if Rob or Madhu, you had other thoughts on this one.
I still think on the PSA side of things, I mean, I don't know. I think it happened between our last time. They set the record for magazine sale on that Jordan cover.
They did. Yeah.
Absolutely. I was going to bring that one up.
Sale.
Yep.
So I think their market, and we talked about this on end during their ramp up, that I felt the magazine was going to be where they completely crush CGC, and it seems like that's the case. A lot of sports magazines have been selling extremely strong in PSA holder, like even like beyond this one, just more common stuff seems to have been selling really well, and I think it makes sense. Card people are more used to PSA. They want that stuff to match, just like a comic book collector does.
Yeah, I did hear from PSA at New York Comic Con in their panel where they said about half of their initial submissions are magazine. So
Neo,
it goes to show how much people care about them.
You could not have been more right about your thoughts on PSA and magazines.
Thank you, sir.
You see how friends do that? You see how they do
got
that?
the two PSA shills down there agreeing with each other.
That's not Ryan just ruined a beautiful moment. I was just, this is
Ryan throwing strays at both of us.
Gosh, we were having a nice one. Oh, I love it. I love it. No, but yeah, that was a cool sale.
Yeah, but I don't know. Any other thoughts, Madhu?
I should note this is not comic related. But it is CGC cards related, because PSA raised their card grading prices about a month or almost 2 months ago now. And very quickly after that, CGC was forced to raise theirs. It did not affect comics, just cards.
Forced?
Went up a couple of bucks.
We had
permission to raise theirs.
Permission, yeah.
Well, no, CGC is not owned by, you got your.
No, because you were saying, I think you meant, it wasn't like they were forced because they probably got an influx.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But and then the other thing that happened this last week is they have now, in addition to raising their prices, have doubled their turnaround times. So their card turnaround went from 40 and 20 days to 80 and like 40 days or something crazy.
It's really interesting. It's the exact same thing we saw during the pandemic when people were mad at CGC and they're like, I'm using CBCS. And then CBCS just got a fraction of the people that left CGC, and it just crushed them. And it seems like it's the exact same thing here. Like you get a fraction of PSA and you get crushed. And I mean, yeah, just nobody has, because you can't stand up that volume that quickly. Like it just doesn't happen. And so, yeah, it's really tricky to handle that type of situation. It's like, you almost have to like put yourself in a losing situation to start so that you can handle, an increase. But man, like that's a tough pill to swallow, like to be like, oh, I'm willing to take lower profits or even losses to put ourselves in a position to absorb these, cards from another grader. But I mean, it's tough. Like, I don't know how you ever really are going to get like real competition in those guys. Like, I mean, like we were talking about earlier with pricing differences. It's wild seeing the pricing differences for PSA 10 versus like a CGC 10. I mean, it's like quadruple on a lot of cards that I've seen, like for Pokemon. I mean, it's nuts.
And they compete better in Pokemon than they do sports cards. It's worse in sports cards.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Any other thoughts? Price increases? I'm sure. I guess it'll be kind of business as usual with this one. But
we get a nice clickbait thumbnail in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, April 1st, I'll be able to have a video that's PSA raises prices, not April Fools. So we'll see.
It's April, you fool.
All right. One other interesting thing that's kind of happening within the card and collectible world, seems like ever since we got that Logan Paul owning the Pikachu illustrator card, is the amount of celebrities that are now starting to leverage collectors and collectibles for their own various platforms. I mean, we could start right here with a friend of the channel, Kevin O'Leary, who went to the Oscars recently rocking his one-of-one triple signed Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron card that he claims is worth 25 to 30 million. I'm sure that that's 100% accurate. And then we had Kim Kardashian and Steve Aoki hanging out, picking up Pikachu cards. Everybody was posting this, at their various selling accounts saying, Kim Kardashian likes cards. If you like cards, you should buy from me. And then we also had McKenna Grace, who, is very, celebrity actress who also attended the Oscars and did a little pack ripping on the red carpet and in the seats of the Oscars itself. But I kind of want to go back to you guys with this. And, we talked a little bit about Kevin O'Leary wearing the chain at his movie premiere and Logan Paul and this sort of marketing hype and influencers. But I just find it interesting that celebrities are really getting into this space. And I think that they probably view it like from their PR teams as like, hey, collectibles are really hot right now. Like this is a big thing. Like you should do something with it, even if they themselves are not into it. But what do you make of this? Like, is this going to just be like, once your, favorite celebrity is in it, it's like, it's over, guys. Everyone go home. Collectibles are ruined now. Like, what do you make of all this?
I mean, I'll say like, and maybe it's just me getting played, but McKenna Grace felt like she legitimately does like Pokemon. Like that is the only one of these that feels real to me. Like Kevin O'Leary, he doesn't care about cards. He cares about cards and that it can make him money.
He likes money, yes.
And he's wearing it around. Like my opinion, my take on that is like he saw Logan Paul wearing his Pikachu illustrator around, like on his chain and everything. And it went from a $5 million card to a $16 million card. And he's like, I'll wear a card around. If it gives me like, I mean, he's been at the Oscars, he's been at whatever, like some other award shows, like he's getting free publicity for it. Like it makes sense why he's doing it. The Kim Kardashian one felt really funny because she couldn't open the pack of cards. And she like clearly she does not care about cards. Like she was there probably for her kids or whatever, but like
it was there.
It was just like she kept trying to open it and she handed it to the person that was next to her. And it's like, yeah, you don't care about cards. Like this is not real. But McKenna Grace, that one felt like she legitimately like actually enjoyed cards. Like I felt like she could speak to it more than other people.
Yeah.
I think it's a mix of some of it is probably their PR teams in their ear. And then I do think there's probably a lot of these folks that are into something, whether it's sports cards, Pokemon, comic books, whatever. And it's not like quote unquote taboo to be nerdy anymore. So a lot of it might just be like, I think it's probably half like I'm genuinely like this stuff. And then the other half is, hey, this is a good PR spot, Like I think we've talked before. Like I think Emma Roberts is legitimately in the like she generally likes cards for real, not like just because her PR team told her to.
We will go to bat for Emma Roberts. She's an awesome person. I've worked with her before, and she's great. And she seems like she's legitimately into cards. But I don't know. I just think it's interesting that it's like,
where's her guest spot? Come on, Swag.
Because she was the one that she did that video where she was like opening.
She's done tons.
It wasn't a Disney card, but it was like a certain signature card she was hunting for. It was like a horror card or something like that.
Yeah, she's a scream queen. So
I think it was I think it was a horror card. But
Yeah.
that one.
Well,
Yeah,
shout out to Emma Roberts. She is officially invited onto the Ungraded Truth podcast, the #1 collectible show in the universe. Emma, come on over to the show. We had a good time hanging out, working on our screen printing stuff. So I think you'd be awesome here. So,
Very cool.
but I think it's interesting because it's like the celebrity stuff. Like it just feels. Some of it was organic. I think a lot of it was like, some of the celebrities you mentioned. And yeah, we know a lot of celebrities that are into comic books. Like CM Punk is like a big comic book buyer, and, Eminem and Nicolas Cage and all that we all know about. But I don't know. It just sort of feels like
Method Man. Sorry.
Yeah, Method Man. But it just sort of feels like they're using this more intentionally as like platforms to create buzz. That's what it seems like to me.
And and then we get to talk about it. So it's a win-win-win-win, whatever. Kim Kardashian does not care about that pack that she opened, but Kim Kardashian is opening a pack. So it's conversation. Like, hey, what are you going to do?
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. I get you guys have lots to say on this, I see. So,
Well, I mean, there's been some interesting ones. Like the ones I like are like I said, I feel like there's certain people where you can tell they are legitimately fans, and that's like was it Alyssa Liu, the figure skater? Like she was calling out like names of characters in manga and that kind of thing. Like that's how you can tell when somebody can pull stuff up off the fly. Like that they actually like legitimately enjoy this stuff. And not to say that you should like, I'm not saying like gatekeep against people that are new, but like sometimes it just feels like it's just not real, and and that, I don't know, that to me, I think for most collectors, it turns the person off of that. You're just like, you don't feel authentic at all. Like, I mean, I don't really care about your reasoning for collecting, but like, I don't know. There's just sometimes when you just like, you can tell someone just legitimately like their PR team was in their ear. And that, to me, that doesn't work.
Kim Kardashian, like you said, had a hard time opening up the pack. I feel for her because I've had hard times opening up blind bags on my channel, and people are always like, "Swag, you need to use scissors." But I don't know if they know about this one right here, where this guy used scissors to open up a Yu-Gi-Oh pack and ended up cutting his card. I don't know if this is like performative or real or whatever. To me, it's just kind of funny either way.
I think it's
or
real.
Not funny. Maybe
I think it's probably real.
But he kept this card that apparently was worth, like upwards of like $10,000 or stuff like that. But Rob, I got a question for you. What is the real official way to open up packs? Can you let everyone know right now how to do it? Are scissors for noobs?
Not with scissors. Not with scissors. I will say though, having ripped some one-piece packs are a pain in the ass to open. I almost
do they have the little like tab?
They do, but they don't work.
Oh, they're the worst. Yeah, the tabs are the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I watch Pokerev, and like whenever he opens like the Japanese versions of the packs, like the Pokemon cards, he's just like he hates it because the Japanese ones all come with a tab versus the American, the US style ones.
One piece are a pain in the ass to open. The struggle was real, and I open packs all the time, and I felt like a 4-year-old with like 2 right hands.
Well, is the method to just get after it, use your hands, rip it open, and just be like, what is the way?
For most packs, yeah. There are some packs that are trickier to open. Like there's those ones with pull tabs, and certain vintage packs can be a little trickier. I'm trying to think.
Never had a pull tab pack. That's interesting.
I'm trying to think like how, like when I've watched Rudy open like alpha and beta, like beta packs and stuff like that, how he opens those. I think they use scissors on those. Now that I think about it,
I mean,
like when Watch Me Open has opened beta packs, I feel like they use scissors on those.
When I watch channels where they're opening large amounts of packs, like packs for people or that kind of thing, I do see people use either a razor blade or scissors a lot of the time. And I think it's just their hands just get too tight. Like, I mean, I've watched, again, I'm referencing like Pokerev again. I remember during the pandemic, I don't think he ever used scissors. I think he always used his hands, and he had some streams where he was opening thousands of packs. And I know he has said like his hands were just killing him by the end, or he'd get like little cuts from them and that kind of stuff. And so like in that case, I understand using scissors or a razor blade or whatever. But like if you're just like one guy opening a box of cards, like just open them with your hands. Like if your hands are getting tired after 36 packs or 18 packs or whatever you're opening, like it shouldn't be.
I gotta be honest.
Hit the gym.
I don't know why, because I've recently opened some boxes, and I'm just one guy opening boxes at this table, and like I don't know why I did it with scissors. I'm not actually sure why. I think it just felt cleaner to me or something. I don't know why I did it
You
with
could have
scissors.
cut your card though, just like
Well,
that.
yeah, you got to be. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess it could happen. Unfortunately, knock on wood. But yeah, I don't know
But I
why I
feel
did.
like you're not going to. Like, I mean, I don't know. People got on my case because I was like opening it without scissors and they were like making fun of me, which admittedly I was struggling with it. But at the same time, I've opened stuff with scissors. I feel like if you do it right, like you're not going to cut the card. Like you just got to go a little bit careful, just use gravity,
Yeah,
have the card sink down. I don't know.
use
That's
gravity is
that's
good
how I see the
advice.
guys do it on the channel. Like they like tap them down to the bottom and then they
That's-
cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't
All
like
right.
the idea of accidentally, I don't know why. Yeah, anyway, it's been fine so far, knock on wood. Hopefully it continues to be.
Well, be careful out there when you guys open packs. You don't want to be like that guy and take off the top.
Yeah.
But let's move on now to the most anticipated segment of the show, which is our last segment of the show, as we've now established that we're going to be finishing our streams with the Dork versus Batman check-in. Shout out to Big Clutch,
Shout
who
out Big
the
Clutch.
other
Nice
day
book.
picked up a CGC 99 copy of Dork that he actually got on Comic Dune's Whatnot stream, I believe, who had a bin buy it now price of $500. And while to many that might sound like a lot, like why would you pay $500 for a new comic book? Seems like a good pickup because not too long later, we actually had a 99 get sold on eBay at auction, and it sold for $807. Guys, I have to point out that I legitimately was watching this and thinking about bidding, and it ended early in the morning, and I was making coffee and I forgot to bid. So I don't know. For the memes, I was hoping I could actually pick this one up, but pretty crazy to see that it sold for $800. When we did our last check-in, we were over at the Pop Report, and there were 299s like early on in the process of grading. There's still only 299s. The 98s have gone from 19 to 43. So it seems like maybe those 99s are actually going to be, the only 99s. We don't really know. We're starting to see 98s have had a couple sales, Ryan, in the last
they
day
have.
or so.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
so we have
when I checked a couple days ago, there was still just that one $305 sale. It's killing.
Yeah, so it seems like just yesterday, effectively, people are starting to get them in hand. But we had a 270, a 265, and another 270 go up for sale.
All right.
Checking in on Absolute Batman here.
We got
8
8 months still.
250, 270, 245, 270. So Dork
Absolute Batman's losing right now. It's losing.
Slightly in the lead so far. But guys, how are you feeling about this 99 sale for Dork number 1 right here? It's pretty crazy.
Feels fun. I mean, I like it.
It was apparently the same
same
submitter that got both of them.
Yeah.
They said they had gotten both, but I mean, if no more come up, then that's the price of the book, I guess. But yeah, that was getting to be my concern on the Dork 9.8. Like they were coming up for sale and nobody's buying them, but now we're seeing prices dropping a little bit. Maybe I'm feeling a little better, but
someone
we'll see.
We'll see. This is fun no matter what. But if someone puts together a PSA 10 of that Dork 1, for the sake of the meme, I would want that too. Let me know. And if or maybe Swag wants a PSA 10 as well. I'm not sure, but let me know if you end up with a PSA 10 of
how's the census graph looking on the Absolute Batman one, Ryan? I know you've been.
It's still growing by about. Like 2 weeks ago, it went up by 209.8. So it's like 150 to 200 still per week.
Is that all?
It is.
Let's point out,
pretty wild.
44 universals, 4,076 have hit 9.8. I mean, that 9.8 rate is really high.
And that's a little
project.
Yeah, that's a little low even right now because CGC updates daily now, and I think it's like almost like it might be 4,200 now.
Rob, I think to answer your question, it was at like 3,600 or 3,700 when we started, maybe something like that.
And that was probably the total census though, because like I said, it's going up over 100 a week.
Oh.
So
yeah. Well,
yeah,
pretty crazy to see that. I mean, no matter what these books end up doing by the end of the year, I'll tell you this: they're not going to do $7,100. But check this out, guys. Brett Bean, creator of Dork, ended up selling his original art for issue 2, which was a variant for issue 2, and he got $7,100 for it. But
Cool.
it made me kind of wonder, like, I don't know if this is like a lot for this. I mean, it's not the A cover. I think it would have been better to get issue 2 A cover. I don't believe that he's going to sell that though. But can you imagine if the Dork 1 cover went up for sale? Like, I think you could get over 30 for sure.
Oh, I do too. I was going to say 20 to 30 is where I would think, and it wouldn't surprise me if it did more. Like, it's pretty hyped up right now.
Yeah,
Cool stuff.
definitely pretty hyped up. But last little thing to point out, Ryan, there is hope for you as much as the census keeps on climbing. It is MegaCon this weekend, guys, which is the giant Comic-Con in Orlando, Florida. And that's kind of like the first Comic-Con of the year, usually kind of kicks us off into con season. And Scott Snyder is at a panel at MegaCon, and he said that they're not slowing down with the Absolute Universe. And currently they have planned Absolute Batman to go to at least 50 issues. I think the current Batman, and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat here, I think it's around like 20 something. So they're only about halfway there, which, to the point of the value of the book, it's at least going to be relevant for another 2 years as they continue to make issues. So that could be very beneficial for the value of the 9A.
They definitely seem to be just like, they're trying to go for every major villain that Batman has. It's like, okay, we're doing the Poison Ivy one. I think I saw a Penguin and Two-Face coming up soon. I feel like he's got enough like mainstream villains that they've got a lot of material until they start, reaching the Calendar Man type, characters at that point.
Yeah. I don't know. Any final thoughts, guys, on the Dork versus Absolute Batman check-in?
I'm still confident in my victory at the end of the year, but
Listen,
I feel
Ryan,
like it's going to be fairly close. I think it might be pretty close.
if I'm sending you $100 at the end of the year, it's going to be my pleasure, and I hope you eat something delicious with it. I want to know I want it to go towards a meal. You guys go have a meal somewhere. I want to know what you eat with it.
All right, I'll get the Big Arch. Because the CEO
is that from McDonald's?
Yeah, it's the CEO.
I don't know. He
made me think that burger was so good.
Yeah, as he vomited off screen.
Oh,
there's a rule around here: no McDonald's. Absolute garbage, trash, poison, crap, nonsense.
So
my
good.
gosh.
I did just watch a documentary about microplastics, and it's got me on a little bit of a.
Oh, my wife is watching one on Netflix, like as we speak.
Yeah. That's the same one. Yeah, I watched that one. It's quite good, and it'll definitely scare you out of eating basically everything.
I was gonna say, what are you actually supposed to eat? Like let's say, like, go out
only your own food that you grow. Even then, questionable. But
yeah, even then, questionable. I don't know. You got to reduce it, but. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. As we get older, guys, you got to make sure that you take care of your bodies. And we're getting old because GameStop now declares that PS3, Xbox 360 are officially retro consoles. Wow. I figure we could end the show with that to let everybody on the panel and likely in the chat know that you guys are old.
I feel like those were like post my college. like, oh my God. Like, man.
I would like to say to all of our old viewers, we are young and I love you all. Thank you.
Yeah.
I started with we had a Commodore 64 and then an Atari and then the Nintendo, then Super Nintendo, then PlayStation. I didn't get the next one. I jumped up to PlayStation 3, I think, for the next system I got. But yeah.
PlayStation 3 was goated and now it's retro. But it is what it is. Time always moves on, which is kind of like how our show is moving on to the end. Which, guys, thanks so much for hanging out tonight. Really, really appreciate it. Remember, hop over to the Ungraded Truth YouTube channel, link in the description. Give it a sub. And maybe more importantly, click on that link to the Spotify. Give us a listen on Spotify. Give us a 5-star review. I always say that, like, I cut out all of the fluff over there on the Spotify to maximize the listening experience, even though there is no fluff.
Like
our entire show.
On the Spotify.
I am disappointed that number didn't go up to 1,300 on the Ungraded.
Come on, Chad.
Get over there.
help us out, okay? It costs you guys nothing, all right? Even though spec is back, and everyone's making money by flipping tarantula books, we're not asking for that, okay? We're just asking for a 5-star review. But anyways, that's going to end our show, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out tonight. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Be good, everyone.
Detective Comics set a record for 1.8 million. Nobody really cares.
Who are annoyed that people are asking them questions, is this book banned? That question didn't exist a year ago.
Somebody's submitting like 25 vintage books and getting 15 9.9s.
We always think, how could it ever get crazier? And then it always does.
Damn it.
What happened?
Oh, we're still live. I got to end the stream. My bad, guys.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Fail.